So Colton, as a diesel mechanic that now owns a whole shop with employees and everything, what's that been like?
Man, where do I start? There's highs and there's lows. Very highs, very lows. Going from a mechanic to diesel shop owner to not knowing what we want to do and all the ups and downs. I would say some of it's been a good experience. It's been something that I would do again. But it's not for the faint of heart. Like
Yeah.
it takes a lot from you. It takes a lot of sacrifice, and there's so much to it that I think people take for granted anytime you get into business. It's just the highs are fun to ride out, but the lows come often, and you got to be prepared for that.
For sure.
And it's gonna come.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the learning. The hardest learning curves was to prepare for the lows to come, and then even when they do, it's still sucks. It's still terrible, but it's been fun. It's been a blast. Met a lot of really good people. I mean, that's how we met you guys,
Yep.
and a lot of really great relationships to come out of it. And I think that's one of the things I'm most thankful for is it's been the people that you gain along the road and the path, and that's the best part in my opinion.
Yeah, you kind of get to build your ecosystem. The people
Yeah.
that work with you, the people that you work with, and everything. It's pretty fun when everything's going good. And challenging when it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the people's that's the hardest part, and I think it's the best part. It's the hardest part to find good people. It's the hardest part to surround yourself with people that actually want the best for you. But when you do get around those people, you kind of want to cherish it. You want to keep them around. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you surround yourself with people that are trying to, tear you down or kind of undermine you. And that's one thing we've been blessed with in its entirety from the beginning is good people. We've always had good people come our way.
I think that's interesting, right? Because when you're starting out, if you were to walk into a shop with 20, 30 people, like there's people in place. There's bosses, there's managers, there's all the way down through. When you're a single business owner running your own shop or maybe one other person or two or three, there's so many hats worn that it gets gray on who's making the calls and who's the boss at certain moments and different things are going on.
Well, with that too is like the way we run our business is it's family ran, and so yes, we have employees that aren't family, but at the end of the day, our business mentors knowing me since I was a little boy. My brother's my business partner, and so when you bring family into it, it adds an entirely different side of the business. And it's exactly what you said. You'll have instances in where I think one thing and he thinks a different, you know, and at the end of the day, we're all trying to achieve the same goal. We're trying to do the same thing, same mission at the end, and it's very tough. He may expect a job to go one way, and I have a completely different mindset for it. You'll see simple things on like how we clean our sides of the shop, like the way his side of the shop's cleaned and my side of the shop.
I put stuff over here. He puts the
very different, and that's tough to manage because it's same thing. I mean, it is. You'll go 3 months that are just absolutely killing it, rock star, and then you'll go 3 weeks where it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I think we should have never got family involved. This is terrible. Like, what am I doing? But it does add an entirely different side of the business that I think long term you win when you have family. I think there's that age-old saying, if you're going to go far, go with somebody.
Yeah.
If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone.
Right.
And being long-term oriented and in the long game, the way we're playing it, I think having families a part of the business has been huge. It's been awesome.
And, I mean, you've been in business for how long now?
4 years in March.
4 years.
Yep.
And same with me,
new.
4 years in March, right? So that's what's been really cool with Colton is we've kind of met each other when my business was early. His was really early. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of work together, and I'm trying to help grow his stuff through marketing, and then we get to talk about business and all sorts of stuff, and it's been really, really cool. So this podcast will be a little different because we both are in similar stages in business. We kick ideas back and forth to each other, and it's kind of fun knowing your struggles, and I'm like, same, and back and forth, and that's it's been really cool doing that. But then kind of give us a little bit of that background, like kind of how you started to decide to do your own shop, and then kind of where you've went over the last 4 years.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, right. From like the moment you said, I'm going to work for myself.
Okay. So that would have been in 2020. I had a close buddy of mine that him and I knew each other. I was working at Caterpillar. He was working at Caterpillar. We both were kind of tired of that. He quit, started doing his own thing out of his own garage. I was doing my own thing out of my own garage. He actually ended up calling me saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to open a shop. Would you want to come work with me?" And I said, "Yeah, man, like, let's do it." A little bit of, nervousness, whatever came out of that. And having a really good friend and walking into business got me into a really dark time in my life. And I'm pretty young, but it put me in a situation where about 9 months in, the relationship's starting to come apart. Tough business for him, being in the diesel industry or just any automotive industry, it's tough anyway. And got into a situation where things got tight. We ended up parting ways, and he went his way, I went my way, and I was kind of forced in that predicament of, all right, what do I do next? Like, do I go work for somebody? Talked to Caterpillar again, and like, oh yeah, you can have your job back. We'll start you tomorrow. And I wasn't invested in that. I was ready for something for myself. When I woke up in the morning, I wanted to be accountable for what I had. I'd always listened to all these podcasts with business owners, and if you're willing to stick through the suck for 10 years, 20 years, like the life that you could really live. And there's just one thing in the very beginning, like when I made that decision, like, okay, I'm not going to work for somebody else. I'm going to try and do this myself. And I started calling everybody I knew, like every contact I had. I started just cold calling. Hey, do you need work? Do you need help? Like, I'm working out in my garage. Trying to fill the gap.
I'll get you taken care of or whatever. Yeah.
And when I finally told my family, I was like, I think I'm just going to start my own business. I want to do something for myself. We're going to start in the garage and see where it goes. My grandparents, it's something that stuck with me since the very beginning. But they said, well, what are you going to do for retirement? And I mean, I was probably only 30 days into this ordeal when they asked me that. And then what I said to them then was, well, if I make enough money, I won't have to worry about retirement. And in my mind, that's something that's always stuck with me, because that was the moment I knew, like, I should probably do this, because I can't go work for somebody and then just pay into retirement for 40 years and live on that. I don't want to do that.
But it doesn't sound.
Yeah, it doesn't sound appealing. Like, there's not. I just didn't see myself doing that. And my grandparents had just retired at 65, and that was the only thing that they were concerned about. Like, what are you going to do for retirement? Yeah,
just make sure you're not working your entire life.
Exactly.
Forever,
like, I don't want to get to that point ever. And the cost of failure was higher in business, it seemed like, than it was just to go work for somebody else. But it was, in my opinion, it was going to be worth it. And so far we're early in business, but it was something that I was willing to gamble.
Yeah. And then since then, you kind of went through a couple stages, right? Like first employee or kind of partner, and then.
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was. I mean, we were working out of a 20 by 20 garage. Majority of the diesel trucks we worked on wouldn't even fit in the garage, so we were doing engines outside, laying in the dirt day in, day out. You had more dirt in your hair than you did on the garage floor, it seemed like some days. And went from that point. My brother, he was working concrete at the time, just doing miscellaneous little jobs here and there for a local contractor. And he called me and he's like, look, man, my dream's to, go to college, do this, X, Y, Z, but I need money in the meantime. Like, I'll come work for you. Well, growing up with the same dad, we were always in the garage together. So it was the one guy that I knew, if there was a quality to be upheld, it was him that was going to do it for me.
Right.
I told him, yeah, let's do it. He came in. He worked for me for about a year, and then at that year point, we got so busy to where we had 30, 40 trucks sitting in my front yard. And
just trucks everywhere.
Yeah, it was just insane. I mean, I had to navigate through trucks to get to my front door. And where we live, it's a real agricultural area, and so to have somebody that has 30 to 40 trucks in and out all day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, like, the county knew that something was a little more than ag going on here.
Yeah, this guy doesn't just really like trucks.
Yeah. So the county came by, pretty much gave us an ultimatum. They're like, hey, we know you don't own all these trucks. I tried to play it dumb and told them, yeah, I do. And they asked for paperwork. Obviously, I didn't have it. So they said, we'll give you 30 days. Otherwise, we're going to fine you $2,000 a day. And so at that point, we had to make the decision, like, back to kind of square one, like, what do I do? Do I go work for somebody, or
do I get rid of all the trucks?
Is this like a legit business and we can do something here? And So that's what we did. We started looking for shops. I made the decision, like, we're already too far in.
Now
like,
we got to be legit.
we have to be a legit business now. No more backyard cash deals. Like, we can't do that.
Yeah.
And so we looked at 4 or 5 different shops. Nothing was in the capability of affording it. We found a storage unit. It was 2,500 square foot out in Pueblo West. And the guy's like, yeah, if you'll sign a 1-year lease with us, we're getting ready to sell. And they were kind of just trying to push the deal along, made it work. And that was our first shop. It was 2,500 square foot, a bathroom the size of most closets. And that's where we started, at the storage unit.
Yeah, just getting something legit, an address, just being able to not get in trouble by
yeah. And that's, I mean, to be honest with you, that's where you guys came in for us. Is like, we never had any kind of marketing. It was always word of mouth in the beginning. It was where, who can we call that would put us in connection with somebody that maybe had a small fleet for us to work on, or constant business. Maybe they owned a business. And I always had it in my mind that business owners would have more money to be able to spend with us when they needed something. And so we kind of pursued that in the early stages, and that brought us to where word of mouth, as long as you're doing good work, it'll carry you so far. And that's kind of where you guys entered the picture for us, is like, we had utilized word of mouth, but we were not as busy, and we didn't have the potential that I thought we had.
You're right.
When we met you guys, got the media involved, and that's where the business really started to take off for us, is because we didn't have a way to have a storefront. I mean, we were in a storage unit on a second row off the street, like, not ideal when you're trying to build a business.
People aren't just going to find you accidentally.
No, we didn't have a sign. I mean, we didn't have anything.
Had some trucks there.
We had some trucks. We had a lot of trucks, and a lot of people would ask us, are you a towing business, or are you an impound lot? Like, we always got asked, like, what do you guys do? And we didn't have any way to show what we did until we met you guys. And then we were able to take the Facebook marketing, the Instagram, paid ads and everything, and that's where the business really started to make a turn for us.
Go show it all to the public, right? Go tell everybody about what you're doing.
100%. And people don't know about you, even when you think they do.
100%. Yeah. No,
we've talked about that, 100 times, but from that point, we were at that shop for 2 years, and then in this October of last year, had a good opportunity to move into a 5,000 square foot shop. And the way the media had been, the marketing, word of mouth, we've been growing exponentially. Had that opportunity. We were out of a lease, so we were paying month to month, and it was just a no-brainer for us.
You were looking for a shop for a minute.
We were, yeah.
You kind of knew it was coming, right? Almost when you moved into that one, you knew that wasn't going to be your home forever, because you're going to exponentially grow past it.
No, I mean, ideally, I'd be in a 30,000 square foot shop with 60 employees. That's the goal. But when that 1-year lease had expired, we started looking. We had some issues with the current landlord. We had, they had moved in a pretty nasty neighbor, and we had mice and stuff running through the shop.
I remember you saying, it was bad.
It was bad. I mean, there were days where I came into work and you'd have a 2-pound rat sitting on your desk. And so I'm like, that's not something I want my customers to be around. So really bad situations. We started looking for a shop probably 12 months before we found the one that we did.
You looked at buying, you looked at renting, you looked at all sorts of things.
Yeah, so we looked at a lot of options: building, buying, renting. What could we afford, where we were going to put the business, etc. Because we started out in a real rural area out in the county, and then moved 30 miles the complete opposite direction. So all
your branding and stuff was pushing one direction. You moved to the other side of town. Yeah.
All the word of mouth. Like, we had to beg, borrow, and steal to get those clients to drive from Fowler 35, 40 minutes just to get to my house, let alone now an hour and a half to get to the new shop. So when we were looking at the shop that we're currently in, we were like, it's kind of middle ground. It's a little bit further, but it's also closer to those county and centrally located. And then, to be honest with you, the financial side just made sense. It was a good move for us. The rent was the same that we were paying for the 2,500 square foot.
Oh, so
and it was a no-brainer. And
when
we found it, from the time that I found the listing to time that we moved in was 3 weeks. And I mean, we just, as fast as we could, moved it in. Anybody that had a trailer, like, hey, can you come and help us? And we worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and was operating Monday in the new shop.
Yeah. It was so fast we had to even send messages or make multiple posts saying, hey, it's over here now.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many clients had went to the old building. Hey, are you guys out of business? Like, what happened to you? You're still working on trucks? It's like, No, we just haven't.
We were
It
absolutely
was
still
so
working on
fast.
trucks, yeah.
It was so fast that we didn't have time to market it, and heck, I didn't even give you guys the heads up. Like, hey, we're moving.
Oh,
It
by the way,
was,
we're over here now. Yeah.
It's like, hey, we really need to start running an ad
Yeah,
or something
we need to let people know
Yep.
we're here now.
Yep.
So that's been pretty crazy. Pretty much 4 years, 3 different locations, but then also going into your first location and making it a legit business. You had to, like you said, kind of step up everything, right? To take over the new overhead and start working on hiring an employee. And I know you kind of gained an employee, and then I think you kind of went back to just you two, and then gained, and then it's kind of, you balance that depending on workload and what's going on and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, so I think with like most businesses that I see, or business owners that I talk to, like your employee flow is going to be dependent on, you know, the work you have, obviously, because you can't just have 5 employees sitting around not doing anything, but also, you know, fit for the company. And that is something that we did struggle with in the beginning. Just being Trevor and I, anytime we needed help, we were always calling our dad or just close friends, like, hey, can you come help us for a weekend? Like, we'll pay you cash or whatever. Whatever
we're behind, we need something.
Exactly.
Or hopefully this thing doesn't smash me while I'm under it by myself, or whatever.
There was a lot of those times where we didn't necessarily have the funds in the beginning to go hire that $40 an hour tech. Like, we had to utilize the people we knew and, you know, try just to do our best. Yeah, it was a lot of favors, and it's a lot of like, hey, I'll buy you dinner and I'll pay you $200 if you'll come help us for a couple hours. Like, we just really need the help. And it worked until, again, we had 30, 40 trucks sitting there, and it was something that, rather than having, you know, 5 trucks a week, which we thought was busy, to we have 30 trucks in the lot, we're touching 8 to 10 trucks, and there's only 2 of us. Yeah. And you really get forced in that situation to grow or stay where you're at. And growth hasn't ever been like an option of ours. It's always been forced on us by our clients and our customers. The busier we get, the more we grow, but we make our customers force us to grow.
Yeah.
That has allowed us to grow not only debt-free, but then also take the quality that we started with in that 20 by 20 garage in the beginning and then carry it through. And we don't do everything perfect. I mean, I don't want to get on here and say that we do, because we have plenty of failures, I promise. But, you know, when you grow organically and you grow by word of mouth and by your quality speaking for itself, and the people get to see that on the media side of it and the marketing side of it, and then now you got people talking about it, it all compounds to where not only does the money come, but the good techs come. You start gaining attention of technicians that are working for other companies that, you know, they're A techs that are like, hey, you know, I don't like the corporate structure. I'd kind of like to see what it is, ma and pa, and then
it's hard to get those guys initially.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Like what they make and what they're able to do, or what corporate's able to provide. Yeah. Right. And you're like, but you got to come love what you do. But then it's hard. I can't offer all that, which we had a discussion actually last time we talked about how you're starting to be able to offer more, and now you're getting to the size to where you can be a little more competitive in those things.
Just the thought of a $40 an hour employee in, like, when I was in that garage, I was like, I don't even know how people can do this.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm super happy with my like $1,500 a month. I'm barely getting by, like ramen every day. So even the thought of that was just like, that was wild. And then, you know, you get to your first $20 an hour employee, and that's like,
it's pretty fun.
It's awesome, you know. Or they go buy a new car or something, and you're like, damn, that's really cool, because like I'm driving a Honda Civic and they're buying a new car. So you're finally starting to get to a point where you can give back, and I think that's really cool. And just growing over the years, we've had a couple employees come and go. Some exactly because, like you were saying, like I can offer, in the beginning we couldn't offer benefits, and I couldn't offer 35, 40 an hour, and that's kind of your standard, like your A player, your real good tech in our area. Yeah. That's what they cost. So we couldn't offer that in the beginning. All I could tell them was like, hey man, you know, if you believe in us and like
how about 25 and a good friend?
yeah, like just believe in me, and
and
you know,
we'll get there, man.
You'll stick with me, man, I promise you, like we'll get there.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind there was always that, like, I promise you, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm just as scared as you are.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Yep.
I know we can. I know it's possible, but I actually don't know the direct perfect path on how to get there.
Like it, you know, there were times about 3 years ago, we were about a year into the business, where it was January rolled around, you know, a couple $1,000s in the bank account, and we had $4,000 or $5,000 coming out that Friday in wages for our W-2 employees, and we didn't have it. And it was that exact thing. It's like, and this was a Monday. We only had $3,000 in the bank. We knew, or I knew that, hey, my guys got to get paid no matter what. If I got to run it on my
payroll hours right now, and
if I got to submit payroll hours right now and run my personal credit card as an expense, like, I got to do what I got to do. Like, we got to take care of the guys. And so there was a lot of that in the beginning. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and you can have a huge job, right? That you make quite a bit of money on, or you could have an oil change that you don't make much on, and like, you just don't know what's going to come in the shop the next day.
You don't. I tell everybody, if we do our job correctly, I shouldn't see our customers every week. Like, if every one of our techs do our job correctly and to the best of our capabilities, in this industry, you should work yourself out of a job.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. It's terrible. It's a terrible business because unless something is breaking and it's not something that we can catch when we have the vehicle, we won't have work.
Right.
And that is where you have to market heavy. You have to do a quality job because people have to be talking about you. People have to know where you're at.
As long a lifetime value of a customer and somebody that comes back repeatedly is great. But like you said, eventually they shouldn't need to come back to you if you get everything kind of working on their vehicle. But then you're hoping that guy that has no idea who you are and his truck breaks down for the first time once it's out of warranty, you need that guy on repeat.
Yeah, and that's
to keep the business alive.
That's exactly what we've talked about. It's like, how do you find that guy that's got 99,999 miles? Because at 100,000, that we want him as our customer. Very difficult to do.
I need to say hi to him the day that truck crosses over, right?
You almost want to sit at the dealer, and when you hear him say, no, it's out of warranty, like, hey man,
nice
but we can take care of that. Yep. I mean, it's a great industry to be in because of the people you meet, but it's a terrible industry to be in because if you do a good job, you have to always look for clients, always. At least at this point in our business, that's where we're at. I do believe that when you get big enough and you've been in the business 10, 15 years, I believe all of those clients over the 10 years there, you're always going to have the work.
That compounds, for sure.
And even now where we're at, we'll have 2 weeks out of the year where it may just get slow. And it doesn't matter how perfect our marketing is. It doesn't matter how great the environment is. Like, we could be 100% every single time someone walks in the door, and you may just get slow that week.
Yeah, the world just chills out, and it hit weird.
Yep. And in that moment, you can just write it out. The's nothing you can do in that exact moment.
That's what a savings account is for, right? Like, I can't send the guys necessarily home. We got to stay busy. Let's clean the shop. Let's try to do something.
How many times can you sweep a shop?
And then you're on the other side of it. Like, what do we do to get people in here? What do we do? Which, I mean, we've done that since, like, you came in on, like, our base package. Mm-hmm. And then we spent a little bit of money, and you're like, I don't know. You even told me there's been times where, like, I thought about turning off because money was tight or whatever, but you can't turn off the faucet either. So how do we push through, or how do we freshen it up? How do we change it? And we've had some pain in the butt people come through that have hired you, and we've had some really amazing clients that you've gotten through, like, marketing and social media and
that's where it turned up, right? That's like we were just talking the other day how you can have with marketing, it's like playing a lottery. You will eventually hit it, and it's like, how can we duplicate it now with some of our big clients that we have? That's reoccurring contract work. That came directly from marketing. A good example was a guy named Matt. Got him through Facebook marketing. Sent us a message, hey, can you work on my Cummins? And he did, came in, did a lot of work, was so happy with us, went back to his employer and said, hey, I think these guys could be an asset to us. And that turned into,
is so cool.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, because we would have never got that experience, or that opportunity, because the thing is he drove 2.5 hours to come see us.
Yeah, he was way out of his way anyway.
In the middle of the mountains, no mechanic up there wanted to touch his truck. A lot of people didn't have the capability of doing what he needed done, especially the tooling and the parts and dealers, etc. And so he drives 2.5 hours. Perfect customer relationship with him, goes back.
And it could have ended right there.
It could have ended. We would have never heard from him again.
It was a good deal.
Living in the middle of the mountains, would have never known. 4 months later, we get a call from fire department, and the fire department's like, hey, our employee Matt said that you guys may be able to help us. And you start looking at that. That is an instance in which I felt like we hit the lottery, right? Because
absolutely.
Now you're looking at a multi-year contract, multiple vehicles, the whole 9 yards, and having that capability just because we ran a Facebook ad, it's
pretty
mind-blowing.
wild. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's something that in the beginning when I was thinking about, hey, we can't afford to pay this, we may need to turn off marketing, and then you hit one client like that, and it's like, in my mind, you can never turn it off.
If only
now.
I could guarantee those results, we could charge a whole lot more. But it's
Yep.
really, really hard. But
Yep.
those are the things that then I hope happens for a client. And then they just look at that and they're like, cool, that paid for our marketing budget for the next year or two. Or as long as that client stays on, we'll just keep chasing for the next one or whatever. And then obviously you've done a lot of other business, but those are super cool. I love that once you're in a business long enough when the phone randomly rings and it's just somebody ready to spend money.
Yep.
Like they're ready to hire you because so-and-so told them or like that. Like, what a big phone call on a random Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, whatever.
Yep.
And you're like, hello, yeah, let's figure this out.
Yep.
Yeah, let me help you with
When
this.
can I be there?
Yeah, what do you need from me?
Well, what's your schedule? It doesn't matter what my
I'll
schedule
figure
is.
it out, man. Yeah. These are calls that I don't care what it's about, right? I'm going to be there and I'm going to figure it out, which has been amazing for your business and has helped you guys like really grow. But that's just being consistent, right? Being consistent with marketing, being consistent with your guys' quality, being consistent with being there.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is I think in business, I think too many people are playing a short game. I don't think a lot of people are thinking, what's 10 years look like for me? What's 15, 20 years look? Or, what's a generational business look like? And that's more of a game that we are playing I'm not so much concerned about what does the next 3 months or the next 3 years look like. I'm more concerned about in 30 years, do I still want to be turning wrenches? No. I'll be honest. This is not the end game for me. But do I enjoy what I'm doing now? Is it providing for my family and our employees and, giving me purpose? 1,000%.
Kind of building your own security
there
around
is.
you, right? Although you could break it, you got to be careful with it. It's still pretty fragile, but
It's
as
still
you
fragile.
build it, it gets stronger.
Absolutely. And the longer you're in it, everybody says, and there's that, you hear all these, multi-$100 million entrepreneurs that own these businesses saying, at the 10-year mark, that's when things click. It's like, I felt like things are clicking now for us, like things are looking good. So if that's true, and in 10 years, I look forward to that.
Oh, right.
But I've talked to other entrepreneurs that are super happy where they're at. They're 3 years in their business, taking home a couple $100,000 a year, and they're satisfied. They don't want nothing more.
Stoked, yeah.
But that's not us. That's not myself. That's not my brother. That's not any of our employees. We talk to our employees, and all of them are like, yeah, dude, I can't wait till we have a 15,000 square foot shop. I want to be a manager for you. And that all comes from the way we treat our employees. I don't ever want to have somewhere where growth is limited. I don't want that.
Yeah, I see that. Trying to build, and that's what I've always tried to do here too, is anybody that's in these four walls, we can build it to be whatever it is. Yeah. If you love a certain aspect, obviously within what we do, then let's chase that more. Because if we find some undiscovered gold, you're going to be the one that's got to take that and run with it and go do the thing. Because I'm already busy.
Yeah.
You're busy too, but we'll figure out somebody else, and then you can be more busy, and then we can just all go together and figure it out.
Well, and you may love, a certain aspect of the business, and an employee may love another aspect, and the benefit of that is you may not be as good with that aspect that the employee is, and that could open up a whole different side of the business where, for us, instances is we have a young apprentice right now going to school, and he loves engines. That's what he does. Do we have the capability to bring in, machining machines
full machine
and
shop, right?
have a full running machine shop? We don't. But if we have somebody that's interested in it, and this is something where he wants to pursue that, then I want to give him that capability, because not only is that going to help our business grow, but it's going to give him something to fulfill him as well.
And I think that's the hard as an employee to say, if I stick here for 10 more years or 15 more years or 20 more years, but if your vision continues to grow and you have 6 shops, why wouldn't there be a engine shop that feeds the 6 shops instead of you guys farming all your engine work out? And now that guy runs the entire engine shop.
Yep.
Because there's enough work to justify having it.
Yeah, and if it costs you, if let's say you pay that employee $100,000 a year, as an apprentice, obviously not, but in 10 years, if you can tell him, this is an easy $120,000, $150,000 a year position for you, that's really intriguing, especially when you're talking some of these apprentices coming in are 17, 18
Yeah.
years old, and you're saying, before I'm 30, I can make this kind of money. Like that, and it's not at all an if. It is if you put the time in, like, it will happen.
Yeah.
And that's something that's shifted too from year 1 now to year 4 is our capability to say this could happen or this will happen has drastically changed.
It gets closer
Oh,
really fast.
100%, because things that were like a real iffy in the beginning, it's like, if we really want to do that, we can chase it right now.
And I say really fast, right? But like, it's 4 years. What's 4 more years? Now we're 8, but even 4 more years. But if you can do what you've done in the last 4 and continue that on for the next 4, what does that look like? And then 4 more after that. What's 15 years?
Yep.
I mean, I put 9 years in a corporate deal, not building anything for myself on the side for a couple of years. But then when it's your deal, or hopefully you find those people that really want it, and then they can, like, entrepreneur, they can build their own thing within your thing, because maybe they don't want to deal with all that, right? But I don't know, it's super interesting.
I don't think a lot of people are cut out for entrepreneurship. I really don't. And to be honest with you, in the beginning, I didn't think I was either, because there's this whole thing of, well, when you're an entrepreneur, you just have bosses above you, and you work yourself to the top. You can work yourself into a good wage.
Kind of make your own calls, kind of.
Sort of, like you can get into a management position where entrepreneurship, it is 100% dependent on you. If you're killing it and, like, you know, the shop's growing, the business is growing, people know about you, like, that is all effort that you and your people and your family have put in. And I say family, but where we are in business, like, our employees are our family, and we're small still, and so it is family. So when I say, like, the time and the effort that our family puts in, it is the people that I work with day to day. When you get to where you're growing as an entrepreneur and you say, hey, you know, we've made it to this point and we're continuing to grow and our family's pushing, everything around you is dependent on me at the end of the day. I got to make a decision, like, do we want to go this direction and steer the boat that way?
Spend
but if
that money, take that risk.
But if I do, you know, who's at risk? Is it going to hurt this employee? Is it further away from his house? Is he going to want to drive? Like, there's all these decisions that you have to make. And ultimately, growth comes down to the guys running the show and the effort that others put in. When the effort is not there, it is also our fault. When you're not doing so good, it is also my fault. When we're killing it, everyone's applauding. When we're sucking wind and we don't have no money and, you know, we're having all these issues, and
also me.
It's also me. At the end of the day, like, there's no running from it. And that's where, as an entrepreneur, like, you can point fingers pretty easy. Well, so-and-so didn't tell me. As an entrepreneur, you are so-and-so.
Yeah. It's the meme where it's the 3 Spider-Man. They're all pointing at the same person, right? You are all 3 positions in that deal.
You look at the mirror and you're looking at yourself like you are the
solution
solution and the problem.
Oh, that's me. I got to yell at myself. Yeah, and I think, so in your mind and where you've came from and where you're headed, how much growth are you wanting still?
To be honest with you, I'm probably more hungry now than I was in the beginning. In the beginning, I didn't know where I was going to take it. Zero vision, like 100% luck, like just trying to pay my bills. That's all it was. I was like, I had $12,000 in debt on a personal credit card that, because I didn't have a job for 5-6 months, everything was in the business, and didn't have any idea where I wanted to go, where I wanted to end up, nothing. Where I'm at now, growth-wise, I think the sky's the limit, and I know that's cliche, but realistically, multi-state, multi-city, you know, I'd like to see 5,000 square foot turn into 10,000. So every 2 years since we started the business, we have doubled. Every year we have 30% growth every single year. That is continuing for us, and I want to double size as far as employees go. I want to double size as far as the shop goes, marketing goes, customers, everything. I want to double until we can't. And I think we're a long ways from being able to say we cannot double.
There's so much out there, right?
Exactly.
You don't even scratch the surface of what's possible.
Our business mentor and business partner, there was a exercise that he actually came to my house one night at like 8:30 at night, and I was struggling with management and kind of direction. I got a little comfortable. Like, we had a good amount of money in the bank. Like, there was no reason to really work 14 hours a day, and I didn't have anything to compare to. I was like, for 4 years ago when I was negative 12,000 and now, like, I wouldn't really have to go to work
I'm
tomorrow
still
if I didn't
pushing,
want
but
to.
it's not like,
Yeah, I wouldn't have to.
not like
And
my life depends on it.
he seen that and came knocking on my door one night at 8:30 at night. And he goes, I want to talk to you. So there we are in my kitchen. Like, I was in my underwear. Like,
You're like, man, what? I was trying to go to bed.
But that was probably one of the most important things he did. And that was about a year ago for me. That was year 3. Came by, and he's like, where's your glasses in your house? And I was like, my cups? Yep. And so I opened the cup cabinet. He pulls out 12 cups, 12 glass cups. And he goes, I want to see how many of these you can hold. I was like, it's kind of weird. Like, what are we doing
Weird
here?
exercise, but fine.
Yeah, what are we doing here? And he goes, I think you guys are comfortable, but the only way to get out of that is to start pushing and to grow again. And you cannot grow with your hands and everything. And he said, you cannot do everything. And so this is what I'm going to show you. So he started giving me cups, and I got to like 8 cups, and there was 4 more on the counter, and I couldn't hold no more. I was like, I'm going to break a glass cup in my counter right now, or in my floor right now. And he goes, this is this is showing you what you're handling, what you're trying to budget, where you're at right now, and you still have so much more on the table, but it doesn't matter because only as one person, you can only do what you can do.
Right.
You can only hold what you can hold. And he taught me that we had to put management into place. And that's really where Trevor, my brother, he stepped in. And for growth, there's no way that I could run the books, I could run the office, customer relations, the field service truck. Like, there was no way to do so. And when I told him, by the end of that whole exercise, we talked for a couple hours, and he's like, now, where do you see yourself? I was like, well, we got to make a decision. Like, I got to put somebody
What cups do you want to hold, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to choose what you want to do, and you have to decide what you're going to do. Somebody else can handle the rest, and you have to be able to delegate those tasks. And literally from that point when we did that to now, it was like 50% growth. And it was 100% just by putting Trevor in a place where he could manage the shop to himself. It is his shop. I run customer relations and more of the front side of the business. Still very difficult to kind of let go because I have issues.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like my baby
Yeah.
still.
You're still connected enough.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still in the shop. I'm still turning wrenches day in, day out. But ultimately, when I am not there, when I am doing a podcast, like, there is somebody in place now that can handle the shop. And if I look at the next 10, 15 years growth, when there's 5 or 6 different locations, I won't even be able to handle customer relations at that point. It will be strictly managers or people that we've put in place to take care of that. And that's what I see. Ultimately.
It's a super cool thing when something happens within the business and like you complete a job or a task or whatever, and it's cool and it's not cool that you don't even know that it happened.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that came in and we did that for that client and now it's done and they already paid, and like, you kind of, but you don't know, or you got to stop and say, what's going on here? What are we doing? Right.
Yeah.
You're like, well, this is weird that I don't. At one point, I was it was communication and the work and the invoicing and then giving them the keys back at the end of it.
You touched everything at that point, and like you have a team here, so I'm sure you could relate, but there's instances in which we'll see a review come through. It's like, who's that? Like, what did we do here? I went on
Chris
vacation.
F?
Went on vacation in February, and you come back and there's 10 new invoices that have been paid. It's like, I don't know any of those people. I don't know what we did, but we're getting 5-star reviews because the quality's still there.
Cool.
That's
like the coolest.
That shows us we did something right. Management wise, hiring wise, we've done something
building the
right.
template.
100%, 100%. Because that or something just as simple as, oh, what's this check for? Like, what are we being paid for? I don't even know what we did. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
That's really cool, and that's where the team building's. It's tough, but it has to happen for growth. It has to.
How important has it been to have like a mentor or people you can talk to or learn from as you've went into owning a business?
In the early stages, very, very critical because I didn't have the relationships I needed to form a business. Like, in the beginning, I had thought a business was, like, I'm a auto repair shop and this is what we do. And that was a business. Like, you guys pay me to do this, and we're in business.
It is. Yeah. It might not be a very good
until the government finds out.
The
government starts seeing the money hit the bank, and they're like, "Well, you're not paying taxes."
And
In the beginning, it was probably the most important thing that I could have done. And
To
I
make
was
it
actually
long-term sustainable.
100%.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the mentor that I had, I was actually approached by him, not knowing I needed a mentor. Like, I was just doing my thing, happened to know his son. Somehow I got brought up at a conversation, when they were eating dinner or whatever, about working on a vehicle. I worked on one of his RVs and turned into a relationship. And he's like, hey, I think I can help you. And I don't expect anything. I just want to help you. And in the beginning, I was like, a little questionable here. I don't know. Like, most people don't just help. And
right.
Just from the connections that he made on the legal side of things, accountants and CPAs, business relationships, you guys. I mean, you guys were strictly recommended to me by my mentor.
Him,
And so it was probably the most important thing in the beginning. Now, where we're at, still critical role. Like, anytime I get into a situation where I'm like, I literally have no idea what to do here.
Advice here.
It's my phone call. It's, hey,
here, hold these glasses.
How can you help me, or can you explain this to me, or what do you think about this? And I have yet to come across a situation that he doesn't have an answer for.
That's awesome.
Now I've also sourced, outside mentors as well. Like, I went out and did the Alex Hormozy workshop, and that's a whole different ball game in itself too, because it's no longer are you local mentors. You're talking to people that are doing international business, $500, $600, $700 million a year, $1 billion a year companies. Right. And
you think you're crushing it, and then you go sit in a room with people like that, and you're like,
you feel so small. You feel so small.
Like, you think I'm cool?
Like, the guy selling toothbrushes across the table is making $10 million a year, and you're like, how many toothbrushes do you guys sell? Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing what to make what we are, and that guy's working 4 days a week selling toothbrushes. So
he probably didn't start selling toothbrushes yesterday, though.
No, probably not. And I didn't ask those questions, but I was just in awe.
It just shows how much is potentially possible. You think you're like, there's no money in that, and that dude's doing $10 million.
Oh yeah, like I have that saying. After I met those guys, they were literally selling toothbrushes, making $10 million a year, and so I have this saying now: like, it does not matter what business you're in, you can make $1 million selling toothbrushes. Like, I know this for a fact. I know that for a fact. So very cool. Mentors are, I think, the most important thing you can do. Getting into rooms with other business owners too is something that
connections and
I think you got to have them.
Masterminds.
We were actually just talking about this a couple days ago, and that was something that we talked about. Was I think business owners are scared to talk about business, and I don't understand it, because it is the coolest thing in the world to me.
Is.
Like, I could sit here for 12 hours and talk about everything about business. Like, I love it.
Ideas, good, bad.
Yeah, ideas, money, like how the invoice, like all the dumb stuff, like
working
taxes
with
and
tax people and how you do payroll. Or there's so many little pockets to all of it. It's fun.
I think it's the coolest thing ever. Like, I have all kinds of hobbies, but out of everything, like, it does pay my bills, but it is a hobby to me. Like, it is the coolest thing. Yeah. And I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, building, and you've built some truck stuff, but like building the business is like building a truck, or like for me, building my race car. It's pieces, parts. You try to make it faster, cooler. And I love that. Like, it's addicting too when it's good. It's hard when it's hard.
Yeah,
it is hard when it's hard.
I don't know what it is that we like. Like, anybody that is in business, why do we get addicted to it? I don't know. Like, I have genuinely thought about, what is it that makes me want to get kicked in the nuts every day? Like, what is it? Because why do I want to get cussed out when we forget to put a heat shield on a motor, or I mean, that's really the worst thing. But or you got a footprint on a mat that we didn't catch, and we get cussed out over it, and told that we're just worthless people because we did it. And why do you want to keep doing that? I don't know, man. The only thing I can think is, like, at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
I think that we all have something that we share, and it is, we want to fix a problem. Like, we're hungry for the next thing, or maybe we're not content. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. No, I know that for sure. Like, I've never gotten content. If I'm content with anything, I just get bored, and then I'll think of something else, and I go chase that, right? And then you're 110% into that, and you're like, I'm going to go figure that out, or whatever. What's cool with business, and what I think, it sounds like with where you're at, and like being able to delegate some stuff, and that's kind of where I'm starting to get, is like, you can go deep into certain aspects.
Yeah.
And that's really fun because then you're like, this has always kind of sucked in the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been what I want. I've never really enjoyed that part of it. Let's go make it good and better. And then you learn a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like how, you know, as a problem solver, if that's what we are as entrepreneurs, it's like you're always looking for the hardest problem in the business. Like your employees
it
for us.
It bugs you.
Oh, 100%. Like as an employee, like your job is to show up, do X, Y, Z. Like you know what it is for the day. Yeah. As a CEO, COO, whatever position you're in of any size business, we come in and we're always finding the worst problems, the problems that nobody else could figure out.
And you're like excited to lean into it.
Yeah, like you were excited for hell. Like you're like, this is going to suck, and
let's go.
It's cool, and let's go do it. Yeah,
yeah,
like I would rather do nothing else. Like,
yeah,
why do we do that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to look at it. Because if you want to get into business, you want to build a business, and you want to build a business, you're constantly just going to lean into all the worst aspects, because that's the only way to actually get better and grow, is to just make all the worst stuff better, which then shows other stuff isn't as good as you thought it was. So then you lean into that to make it better, and then you're constantly in this like jumping around motion of making things better.
Yeah, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, or put your 2 cents in on this too. But if you don't fix those problems when you're small, like in my opinion, where we're at, even the size that we're at now, we are still small. We are very, very small. Yeah. Potential growth is huge, but we're very small now. And if you don't fix those little issues and kind of pull those levers that are at your disposal when you're small, I don't think you'll make it when you're big.
I think that's what'll wreck a business.
Yes.
Or break it.
Yeah. I think growth too fast is also dangerous. I do believe that if you go somewhere too fast without direction of how to manage it when you get there, I think that's equally as big of a problem as starting a business from scratch.
I don't know if you can, in our situations of like bootstrapping the business and not taking on debt, it's pretty hard to grow the business too fast, though.
Absolutely.
Like maybe. Like I might have made a decision that put us in this position a little sooner than we should have been there, but it'll check you.
Yeah.
And then you'll get set back a little bit, and you'll figure it out, and then you'll have to move forward. On businesses that go from no shops like yours to like 4 shops in 2 years, like that's typically backed by debt.
It is.
And huge loans. And like you could probably do that and potentially make that work tomorrow, right? You have enough data, you know how shops need to run.
Yep.
You could potentially go take on huge loans, go open up 4 shops across, the 4 biggest towns in Colorado or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like you probably do pretty good.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot. You're probably going to get kicked, or you got to go hire the right people that have ran enough of those stores, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like high risk, high reward.
It is.
And if you bootstrap it, it'd be hard to, if you're good with money.
Yeah.
Now, I think if you're going to jerk all the money out every week because you enjoy, or you want the newest truck, or you want to go do whatever, or take 7 vacations because now you're a business owner and you don't have to work weekends or whatever, I think you could purposely mess that up.
Yeah.
But if you're financially smart and you're decent with your own money and you bootstrap a business, it's pretty hard to do that. Luckily, I haven't been too far the other way where I've had to like cut a bunch out to like cover something.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you're even willing to do that, it would suck.
Yep.
It's a hit to the ego, but if you do that, you'll be okay. Mm-hmm. It's the other side and that's what's freaked me out. Like I think the quickest way to kill a business is debt.
Oh yeah.
So I just try to stay the heck away from
debt. We are very aligned in the thinking of that is debt is dangerous. I think you can utilize debt, most definitely. Like there is some instances as we grow, we know that we will have to have debt. Like I'm not going to go buy a $1 million property tomorrow with a 10,000 square foot
just because it'd be cool to have.
Well, without the, for one, we can't do that because of the funds without debt. But then you try and go buy that building and don't have some kind of credit, business credit, or a relationship with a bank that will show, hey, like we are good for it. They're going to tell you no. And now you can't grow because you don't have debt. And it's like this revolving door of how do we grow with minimum to no debt, but still have a good relationship with the bank to where we do need to pull the trigger on that, $1 million, $2 million property.
Those jumps because then you get into a certain level in business where your cash in the bank is your safety net, and then your purchases become so big that like you have to take such a step in growth that if you took all your cash and did it, it would actually screw you up. And then taxes play a whole crazy role into that.
Yep.
So then you're almost forced to take on debt at a point, but then it starts to make sense in ways, not in just because I want to be cool and I want to build the business, but because it's like a tool almost at that point to manipulate.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, we've had instances where, to be honest, the banking institution and who we bank with has caused us to get creative. Like, you know, taking on bigger fleets, you go from your average walk-in customer with a truck for us is, you know, between $3,000 and $5,000 expenditure. We don't get a lot of brake jobs or oil changes, stuff like that. Most of our stuff is big, heavy repairs that other shops don't want to do.
Cheap.
No, it's outrageous. And, you know, a lot of customers are like, oh, well, you know, you're very expensive, like you're pocketing all this. It's not that in most cases. Like, our profit margins are not what people think they are. But as we were growing and you start looking at these bigger fleets that are net 90, net 30, you know, we could easily tie up $250,000 into a fleet. Some of the fleets that we manage, engine alone's $100,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
And to pull that out of our operating capital that's sitting in the bank would crush the shop. You know, or at least it wouldn't crush the shop, but it would make it to where it was uncomfortable for me. Like, it would go back to 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, just because I'm uncomfortable.
Hey guys, like, hopefully that net 90 comes through. So, because if you float enough of them.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is that's we get asked a lot. You know, is there payment plans? Is there X, Y, Z? Can you take care of this for me? And we have to tell our customers in most cases, I would love to, but I also have, you know, 7 other big fleets that are 30, 40 vehicles that I'm carrying for those net 90s. And, you know, you get $500,000 wrapped up into net 90 sitting there that you can do nothing about. It's a huge problem.
It doesn't make you any money. That's one thing we've talked about is, like, Colton's business is so heavy on parts, 50% of the revenue or 60 or whatever. You have 60, the number 40, 60, 40. That's like just parts that you have to buy and put on people's vehicles. You don't make really anything off of it. It's just a have to do business, and you need that up front before you get paid, where ours is so employee heavy and it's a service base where we really don't have hard costs. So we do a little bit, but it is far more like 80-20 probably, like employee cost to like what we need. Like, we need softwares and different things, and that's grown a little bit, but it is nowhere needing, like, it'd be like if I had to go buy a camera every time we filmed for somebody.
I mean, it's there is not a vehicle that comes through our shop that does not need parts. Like, the whole reason that we're in business is because a part failed.
Something needs to go on that thing.
And when you're talking 60% of every job that comes in is a parts cost, well, if I have, let's call it an average 15 to 18 trucks sitting at my shop, at 60% of those parts already purchased, all your operating capital is in parts. And then you're just waiting for that labor to be paid at the end. And, you know, in a business like your guys' where it's so heavy on the labor side of things, I think that would also have challenges. Like, I don't know what that's like. I know our employees are all paid, you know, very well wages, good benefits now that we offer it, and that's still a large expense for us. But if we flip the tables to where it was 80% employee, 20% parts, I don't know how I would manage that. Like,
weird,
that's a whole different thing. And, like, kudos to you guys for managing that side of it, because parts problems are the biggest thing in our business.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, and for you, I would imagine it's probably people's biggest problem.
Yeah, and I mean, every once in a while, Facebook will go down, and that really sucks. And then everybody's standing around like, what do we do? It doesn't do good for you guys either. And then it really isn't fun for us, because I, like, literally have employees that are building posts and scheduling them, and then it goes,
Yeah, I'm calling you saying, hey, what's going on?
And I'm like, we need to build all those, save them, and then Facebook usually doesn't go down for more than a couple hours, so just hold in there, and then bam, we're back up and running, and everybody makes a joke on it online and all that stuff. But, I mean, that stuff worries me to a point, because we're reliant on, you know, services and technology and stuff, but also Facebook went away. Well, the attention's going to go somewhere. I don't think everybody's going to go back outside and start playing on Jungle Gym. So it'll pivot, and everybody will be on TikTok or YouTube the next day or whatever it is, right? It'll go somewhere, and then that's where we'll go with everybody's attention. But, it's so wild that the difference in businesses. And luckily you chose yours and I chose mine, and we're figuring it out. But kind of going back, you said, like, going to Hermosi's thing, that was not a cheap venture for you. Like, you had to take a decent amount of money and invest into going out there. And like, what are some of your biggest takeaways from going to something like that? And you've read his books and you've done some of that, but you're even intrigued to go learn more and invest into yourself, right? And try to get a path on how you want to grow the business more.
Yep. So that same mentor of mine that came to my house late at night to run that experiment with me, the other thing that he told me was, you want to always invest in yourself and in your mind, because no matter what you're doing, if you're working for somebody or if you're running a business that you're running now, or maybe it's a future business, knowledge is always going to stick with you. If you learn it now, you can always use it somewhere else. You can give it to somebody. And in his case, that's what he was doing for me, is he was giving me the knowledge that he had learned over 30 years in business. And
consulting, mentoring,
100%.
coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he had already done a lot of the things that I had needed to do, and so he was giving that to me. So when I invested to go out to the Hermosi thing, it was a 3-day workshop out in Vegas. Even though we have the management in place at the shop for me to be able to step away for 3-4 days, like, I was still nervous. I'm like, I'm gone for 4 days.
I'm spending money.
I'm spending money, and
I'm not there to make it.
And I'm not making it. So that's a whole different thing. But what we took out of it, would I do it again? 1,000% I'd do it again. But it was almost like we were drinking out of a fire hose. It was a lot of information as fast as you could write. We got into rooms with people, and it was the first time that I had been in rooms like this, but these are people that are 27 years old making $100 million a year. And they're sitting this close to one another, and they're telling you, I could spend a week out here. I could spend a month out here. Like, I can do what I want. And you kind of play into a fantasy as an entrepreneur a little bit, to be honest with you. You're kind of like, damn, like, our business has potential to be this size. This could be the
I could
future.
be in that chair.
You could be 100%. And so it was my first time being around people that had those kind of net worths. And then also being around such a broad spectrum of businesses. I mean, there was everything from marketing companies to a toothbrush salesman to consulting firms. There was hedge fund groups out there, a lot of solar, a lot of GM owners. I think some of the biggest takeaways that I had was all businesses have the exact same problems. It is 100% comes down to how fast can you solve the problem and with who and for what cost. And if you figure out those 3 metrics, you can grow as fast as you want. But you got to find the problem first, find it, and then you got to come up with a solution for it, and then you got to put somebody in place to solve it. And when you work fast at that, you can do whatever you want.
It'll move fast.
It'll move fast. The other thing that really drove home for us was business is speed oriented. So if it takes you a long time to make a decision, your business is going to grow at that same speed. If I'm approached by a fleet today and they say, I need an answer by tomorrow, and I don't have an answer by tomorrow, you lost that opportunity. And that's what they were getting at, was you need to be able to say yes right now and trust yourself. And there was a lot of that, a lot of marketing strategies, a lot of techniques. And I don't know how deep you want to go into all that, but there was, we met every single side of Alex and Leila's team, the people that are actually building their $500 million portfolio, and we got to sit with them for an hour every single day that we were out there in private rooms, asked our own specific questions, and a lot of my questions were like, how do you bootstrap a company to $500 million, and how do you do it in 3 years? Because that's what they did. Yeah. How do you do that? And every single one of them said the exact same thing, just like, move fast, market heavy, move fast. Don't
not
drag
double
your
down,
feet.
triple
down. Yeah, and that's
whatever.
When I came back, when I called you as soon as we landed, and I was like, all right, we're gonna 4x our marketing by the end of this year. Like, we're adding websites and we're doing all this, because I had just been dragging my feet for so long.
You knew it was important. They helped show the light, and then also tell you got to do it, and then you're
it's like, if you want to go to a point in business where it's kind of like fuck you money, there is a lot of sacrifice that's going to go into that, but if you move slow, you'll never get there. You just got to go. You have to do it. And I personally have been pretty nervous to make mistakes. Even where we're at now, I feel still to this day where if I were to wake up tomorrow, for some reason the business is gone. I just feel like it could disappear tomorrow.
Yeah.
Realistically, could it? No. but I feel like that. And for some reason, like I've always had it in my mind where I know you got to make fast decisions. We got to have heavy marketing. We have to do our best job that we can do, highest customer quality. Like these are all things that I went out there knowing that those are facts. You learn that in business.
You know that,
but when you have somebody that's doing $500 million tell you what you already know, it kind of hits you like, oh, okay, that burns because
you're saying I didn't pay this money to come out here for you to tell me it's not what I already knew, and I have to now go do that.
Yeah. But there was other things too. I mean, like
sure.
strategic sides of the business that, at least for us, that we implemented right away. That their team was like, you can implement this in any business, no matter what you do, and you need to be doing it. Like a website, like we didn't have a website. That was the first thing. I was like, hey James, we gotta get a website, man.
I know
like,
we've talked about it. Just do it.
Yeah, like we have to. And then there was actual tactics that they gave us. Like for us, it was a fast pass. And so in our business, we don't have a reoccurring like monthly expense or anything like that, to where we can bill a customer for a service. And so not having that and being service-based company, we had to come up with a way to have some kind of reoccurring product
connection to them.
Yeah, we had to have something. And I mean, their product specialist out there, he told me, he's like, just implement a fast pass. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, literally, if a customer wants service right now and he doesn't want to wait 2 weeks, then he pays a monthly retainer for your service. And he said it could be small,
kind of like a fleet service, but for a personal.
Yeah. It's literally a retainer, like how you have a lawyer on retainer. Yeah. It's the same thing, but for our service-based company,
which is cool.
And so that allowed us to put a reoccurring model into place where, and it works really good with fleets. Most of your private individuals aren't going to do it because if I do my job, their truck shouldn't break.
Right.
There is caveat there, but like our big fleets, well, we have so many fleets under management now. We have 8 that are rather large fleets, and when you're managing 500-600 vehicles with only 4 people, there is times in which a fleet will call us and I can't get to them for 5-6 days. But I can say, hey, look, I have one technician that I can dedicate to you guys with our field service truck, but it's going to cost you $3,000 a month or whatever, $8,000, $10,000. You can make your number up, whatever you want it. This is what it's going to cost you a month, and you are his number one priority no matter where he's at. Will that create problems on the backside for me? Sure, because now I have clients that are sitting in the shop expecting their trucks to be done today that aren't going to get done.
But the revenue made from that.
But the revenue covers the downside of the shop being a little bit slower. And something like that I would have probably never thought of that. Yeah. That's not something that would have crossed my mind. Like,
just such a creative.
It is. It's thing, and for him, he's like, oh yeah, just do this. You didn't even think about it. Like the time,
everything was worth that one conversation.
Yeah, that one conversation right there would,
pay for the
it'll add 12-15% revenue to our bottom line this year. Like that's
And so you implemented that?
Yeah, we did implement that. We did implement that. We implemented the website. You guys are actually working on that for us, so that's cool.
It's looking awesome.
Yeah, it's super kick-ass. Super excited. So we implemented that, and then a strategy that they also told us about was like, how do you get your customers back? Like in instances where their trucks are not breaking,
right?
How are you getting in touch with them, or how are you getting them back, or whatever the case is? And I was like, I have no model for that.
Or wait for their truck to break again.
Yeah, just wait. And hopefully it breaks quick and they come back for something else.
You see them again, yeah.
And so they told us to put a like a free oil change voucher in, and so now we're doing it to where, they'll do 5 oil changes with us, and they get their 6th service free, whether it's oil change and fuel filter, or oil change air filter. Like, we're offering a $250 value for free just for coming and seeing us, and people are calling because of it. They're saying, hey, can I get my air filter done or whatever, because they know it's going towards that free service that they get. Sure. That's $250 value, and if you play your cards right for a customer, like, it's a no-brainer.
You've even done some really interesting things where now you'll give away like your hat.
Yep.
Or a shirt or whatever for a Google review, which is, if you're about the money and the short term, you're paying a lot for that Google review, right?
It's a terrible way to lose money quickly. Just give a lot of stuff away. And that came from the workshop that we went to out there, without a doubt. I mean, they said you need to give away more than what you're taking from the customer, and then you'll grow. And for us, like we had never had Google reviews. We never really had Facebook reviews. Like we had a couple, and they were always good. But
it just wasn't at the top of the priority list for what you
it
were
wasn't.
worried
No,
about
I mean,
doing.
customer came in, we fixed their truck correctly. We would see them. Like our customer retention is ridiculously high. We don't lose a lot of customers, and that's why we're growing so fast. But when we started giving our hats and stuff away, and we had you guys run an ad for us that said, "Hey, if we've done work for you, and just be honest, but if you leave us a review, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, whatever, 1-star, we'll give you a free hat." And we went from 3 Google reviews to 35 in 30 days. And they weren't like kind of shit Google reviews. They were honest reviews from customers that had either good experiences or bad experiences, or, hey, you guys could fix this or whatever it is. And that was worth every hat we gave away, every single shirt that we could give away, and we still do it to this day. I mean,
and then that helps your Google rankings, but it's hard to justify ROI on that. But then all that helps, and then it's the social proof, and we'll have people be like, "Hey, can we call your references?" Be like, "Go look at our Google reviews."
Yeah, the Google reviews, the Facebook reviews, that is our reference, and we continue to do it. We continue to give shirts away, hats away. Like, we give way more to our customers now. To me, there is 0% ROI on any of that, because a Google review will only get a customer to call you, but it's still up to us to close that customer. So the closing has to be good. We still have to have the product to offer the customer that's good enough for them to spend money with us. So giving hats away and shirts away, if we give $1,500, $2,000 away a month just to customers coming through, even if they don't leave us a Google review, it's a walking billboard. They're wearing our apparel. They're
your
getting
brand
out
is starting to get spread.
It is. It's more of brand building than it is business building, I think.
Which, like, you're a diesel repair shop. It's not like it's the coolest, fanciest thing ever. It's not Nike or whatever. No. But you're like, man, if I see you out walking around with our logo on instead of a Nike logo, that's rad. Cool. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah,
definitely, you're investing hugely into the business and brand, and kind of at all costs, which is definitely not great for short-term revenue, but long-term growth, and that's what you're mostly worried about.
Yeah. So generational growth is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Like, I want something that I can give my kids, and I want something that my kids can then give their kids. And I have not met another shop owner that thinks like that. Not yet. And I guarantee they're out there. I just have not met them yet.
Yeah.
I do not want to be a millionaire tomorrow, although it'd be cool, but that's not my goal.
In due time.
In due time, it will come, and if I do my job correctly as the owner, co-owner of Divine Fleet Repair, then it'll grow the direction that we're needing to go, and we will have something to give our kids. And in the next 10 years, the growth will be exponential, because I won't let up. And I know my guys stand behind me 1,000%, and I stand behind them 1,000%. And you do not have a losing team when everyone's aligned like that. You will win. It's just time. I think time sucks, because no matter how bad you want something to grow tomorrow, it probably ain't going to happen. It's probably going to take 10 years.
Yeah, if you could buy patience. If I'd be broke, but at least I'd be able to wait, right?
Yep. But if you could buy time, I would buy the next 10 years. No matter what it cost me, I would figure it out. Like, I'd buy the next 10 years of experience and plug it in right now. And
have the confidence
where we would be.
The journey is the fun part, right?
100%.
So I think we'll go kind of tactical on some of the conversations we had, because I wish the cameras were recording and stuff we've talked about before. But, like, one of the things I think our recent conversations was, having a CPA or a tax person on your side or payroll. What have you learned from doing it yourself to hiring some people? And
so I want to be transparent. The CPA side of the business, the actual taxes, all that, I have never done that myself. I have gave my input, and it has got me in trouble. So I don't give much input anymore, to be honest. I do not know anything about taxes. Besides, I don't like paying them.
But you've learned early to hire somebody, or even maybe hire a couple different people. As you grow, you got to outgrow. I think you were saying even the other day, I hadn't heard that, but that's kind of interesting. You got to outgrow the people that help you, right? And
yes.
Stuff like that.
You, at all aspects, it doesn't matter if it's a CPA or a bank or whatever. I mean, you're going to likely outgrow them. It is inevitable. Like in our banking institution, for what we have to spend in parts. Even though it is a large credit union, we have outgrowing their expenditures that they allow us to do daily. Some days
You're like moving too fast for the bank that you're currently
it
working
is, and
with.
they're great people, but the bank itself cannot keep up with the kind of business that we're running, and that creates problems.
That sounds crazy to say, though, right?
Yeah, like you would never think. I was talking to a business owner just a little while back that was telling me that, try this bank because they took me all the way to $1 million a week in payroll. It's like, you spend $1 million a week in payroll. How do you do that? And our bank now,
It's just numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time spending $35,000, and
Right.
They're kind of like, it takes 7 days to be able to have these funds available, and that's just not a problem that you would expect from a bank. Same with the CPA though. I did learn through several different CPAs. We've practically had a new CPA every year in business. I started super cheap in the beginning, and I learned really quick that you definitely get what you pay for. Nothing against her, great person, but it was far from what the business needed. It is what I needed,
Right.
and like she took care of my personal stuff, she took care of the business stuff, and always made sure that we were tax legit.
Yeah,
So no complaints.
You look at times where it's like, do I look at it on a monthly thing, on a yearly thing? Like first year in business, I did all the taxes in like a month, right?
Yeah.
Like I just went and did the thing, and then I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that again. And then it forces you to like
Start looking
step
at
up.
options. Yeah. Oh yeah. And the first time that you hire, an accountant that's $400 a month when you were just been doing it kind of yourself or paying TurboTax, once a year to do it, and you hire that $400 a month accountant, and good, yes. Efficient, no. And then you hire that $800 a month accountant. Efficiency, great. Good, now goes to great, but now you're paying for it. And then things just don't jive right, or maybe you're not getting a good feeling about them, whatever. And so we've moved accountants. And with the accountant that we have now, great price, great people, but slow. And everything that we do is super fast paced. Like I want everything yesterday. I'm very impatient, and that is a lot based on how fast I'm trying to grow. Like everything has to be, decisions need to be made tomorrow. Everything has to be yesterday, and it's tough.
I know we had a conversation. You can elaborate on it how you want, but you were looking like everything was good, and then the last 2 months of last year kind of changed things, right?
Yeah, so I'll be pretty transparent. Talking about the numbers doesn't really bother me or anything, but
because numbers were different a year ago, and they're going to be different in a couple years from
yeah,
now,
they're going to
right?
be different in a couple months, to be honest.
Yeah,
especially
really.
with the growth. But yeah, so we got to last year. We had never shown profit as a business. We were purposely not showing profit, and last year
Like every growing business does their best to do.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. We don't want to show a lot of profit because then you pay on it. You pay taxes on it. And so last year, everything was kosher. We were paying our quarterlies. Got to November, and our current accountant, she did not realize that in our business, November, December is when you have a lot of vouchers, a lot of people buying services for people, and we just happen to have consecutive $200,000+ months. Biggest we've ever had. Thought it was a fluke.
That was crazy.
It wasn't. It was crazy. And we went from not owing any taxes to showing $175,000 in profit. I messaged our accountant, and
sounds great, right?
Oh, it sounds awesome.
awesome.
It sounds awesome. Like ecstatic. Like never seen numbers like this before. Showed $200,000 in profit when the year ended. I had messaged the accountant December 20th saying, "Hey, do we need to spend money? Because like I know there's money in the bank now. Do we need to spend it? No, everything looks great." But what I didn't know is she didn't understand our business and how it worked. And then also she didn't understand that we needed to be reconciling our monthly expenses. So we didn't do that. So we ended the year showing $175,000 in profit, which is a massive issue because we didn't have large expenditures last year. We didn't plan for that. So ultimately, we'll end up paying $60,000-$70,000 in taxes for quarter one of this year, and then also
Ouch.
$175,000 for last year. So
It'd be really cool to have that money to grow the business and not give. But I also think becoming a legit business, you have to start paying if you want to like get the loan for the building at some point or go buy the new vehicle for the business or whatever. So many people try to stay away from taxes, and you do the best you can.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to pay your dues if you're going to be legit, if you're going to keep growing it. Because guess what? When you're 5 stores deep,
Yep.
that only gets way worse.
Oh, I believe that 100%. And you can really look at it two ways. You can look at it as, hey, we're going to have to pay 60, 70,000 in taxes. Or you can look at it as, look, I'm blessed to be able to pay 60 or 70,000 in taxes, because to get to that point where you're paying that, it does take a large amount of effort. It takes a lot of clients, a lot of sales, a lot of work goes into that, and you can look at it both ways.
Yeah. But if knowing right, you could have, not that you wanted to take on debt, but you could have potentially went and purchased something
Yes.
on credit to then get away from that, keep the cash in the bank, and not actually put the business in a weird spot of having to put out all this cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And where our cash flow has always been is we've always been positive cash flow, debt free. If we needed something and we went and bought it, well, with how fast we're growing, the issue that presents is buying our $20,000 scanners is not enough. Buying a $30,000 shop truck is not enough. Like we have to look at expenditures in $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 expenses to avoid the tax man.
And then you got to grow the business by X amount to make sense of that purchase.
100%. Yeah, I can't go out tomorrow, buy a $250,000 service truck, and that's what anywhere between 200 and 250 is what a new service truck costs. Yeah. And to justify that expenditure tomorrow, that truck needs to run 5 to 6 days a week, all year long.
Yeah, your current one makes good money because it don't cost you anything.
Exactly, we own it.
The big payment on a $250,000 one is,
and whatever that is, probably $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And
yeah, it's got to be on the road for a day or a couple days to even cover itself.
Yeah, if it does not run, it does not make sense to purchase it. But if we don't purchase it, then you're still paying the taxes. And so it's a really nasty revolving door.
It only gets worse.
And it gets worse the bigger you get. That you can't avoid it. Like it is unavoidable.
So something we've done is like I'll act like we need to grow like 3 to 6 months from now. So if that's another 1 or 2 employees, so then we can go chase the clients. That's what I add. So going back to when you're like, I don't know what it'd be like to have high overhead. Like I can, and then we roll it into just more production of content for us to invest in our brand. Mm-hmm. But your stuff is different faceted than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love to grow 100% tomorrow, and by all means, you probably could. You could probably 100% growth tomorrow, but there's nothing in place to grow like that.
Yeah, that's what else we were talking about, right? I mean, you called me that day. You said, okay, let's turn up marketing. So we spent some more budget. We've ran some new ads. They're working great for you. Mm-hmm. What would happen if we even looked at the number the other day and we're like, you spent this total in Facebook ads. I was like, what do you think that's brought you in? You said, about this much. It's quite a good number. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, what if you doubled that? Mm-hmm. But to double the marketing, to then double the business you would do, the business almost can't take that.
Yes.
Or triple it, right? Like you're gonna hit you'll just run out of space currently.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
that's like one of your biggest things.
You'll take a 5,000 square foot shop, and if I were to double our marketing budget tomorrow, we would need a 10,000 square foot shop.
Yeah, we can't put stuff on the roof.
No, and I would need 3 more employees, and I would need another office gal or guy. We'd have to have somebody in the office full time, and to do all that, to pull all that together, you're talking $500,000 minimum, because you got a $60,000 to $75,000 a year employee that you're gonna have to hire in the office that don't make you any money.
Now that's cost.
Not billable money. That's cost. And then you have 2 technicians that are going to be $100,000 a year a piece, and now you got a $500,000-$600,000 building. So you're $750,000 if we double marketing tomorrow.
And you got to double the marketing.
And we got to double the marketing. And there's that expense too. And and then the output has to be there, because we can double everything.
Quality's got to stay.
Exactly. We can do all the doubling we want, but if the quality goes down, or if our time to delivery goes down, we ultimately lose customers by doing it. And so since I've known you, and since we've taken on the marketing for the business and ran these paid ads and everything like that, we've had a pretty slow approach, but it's been a manageable approach. This year, by the end of the year, if we can triple our marketing budget from last year, that is something that I think we can handle.
And that number is not really that crazy compared
And
to like
that's,
when you went
that's
to
up to you.
Moses thing.
We can go into that too. You know,
Yeah.
completely up to you. We can go into that and, you know, cost that we spend yearly in comparison to what that cost on marketing can make you. It's a no-brainer. Like I would love to triple marketing tomorrow because I know the potential
If
of
it was
hitting it
only
again.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
if it was only the, you know, the marketing itself, then yeah, I'm all for
I
it.
think that's a big thing because we're both in a service-based business.
Yep.
If it was a machine that made a product, I'm making this microphone or whatever, and I can just add more machines, but then you still would run into size of building that it could go in or amount of power or whatever. But you know, skilled labor is a thing. The shop, the trucks, the different things. I know it's so interesting that how do you? It's like going up a ladder at a zigzag of like bouncing back and forth between that is the next thing I need to grow a little bit, but then shoot, I'm going to need to put the money out for this. But then you hit, everybody probably hits, but you're really looking at massive like steps.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
your
so
shop size just has to. So I
Has to double.
got to be able to fit an extra desk.
Yeah.
You got to be able to fit an extra vehicle.
Yep. Yeah, and I
That's
mean,
a lot of extra
realistically,
room per multiplication.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're going from, you know, 200 square foot to 2,500 square foot to 5,200 square foot. And now the next step for it's 10,000 square foot. The expenditure on a 10,000 square foot shop is dang near $1 per square foot. So you're $10,000 a month in that building if you're leasing.
That's if you don't go put nice new floors in the front like you did
Yeah.
in your new.
Yeah, that's if you don't go invest, you know, 25 grand into an office just to look pretty. You know, that's
just make yourself feel good. But what a difference that makes though when you walk in and you like enjoy
yes.
your office space. You'll spend more time there. Colton always tells me anytime we're talking or we get on these long chats or he comes and does a podcast that now he'll just have to offset how late he works tonight too.
Even
to
now,
make up
yeah,
for it.
we'll do a 2-hour podcast and I will stay till 10 o'clock tonight instead of 8.
Most people aren't willing to do that.
No, I truly believe that you hear more about businesses that fail than you do that hear about businesses that succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
How
the
many
percentages or whatever it is.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
insane.
there's
to make it
always
past
those,
5 years, like you and I are both like, if we make it past another 10, 11 months, we've broke past what a lot of people don't.
Everybody says that
wild.
5-year range is like 1% of businesses that make it past that 5-year mark. It's like, I don't understand
I feel like
how.
I started yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand how, because I feel like it's a constant 5 years. Like I'm not shooting for year 5. I'm shooting for year 10, but I feel like I just started again yesterday. And I just feel like when I woke up this morning, I started again. And I don't understand how a lot of these businesses are failing. And maybe that's because I'm wired different. Maybe that's because I surround myself with people like you that have a desire for growth, that
Similar
are not
goals
settled at $100,000 in the bank,
Yeah.
or $100,000 a month. Like, we're not settled for that. That's not where the end game is. It is much bigger than that. And I think somebody that has that mindset and that has that drive, how do you shut it off? I mean, I have a little one at home. You know, a lot of people know now, and it is so difficult for me to be home on a Sunday not thinking about the business.
Right.
And that's terrible. I mean, to be honest with you, that's terrible. But it's the truth. And it's so wired because that was the baby first. Like, you can't turn it off.
Yeah, and I think you're super young, and then like I don't have kids or anything, but you're trying to provide, like you said, the long-term thing is the generational wealth or business or being able to pass something on or provide something if they want it or whatever, which is amazing. But then also not, there's a balance. So you got to decide. But I think the cool thing with you having the business is, okay, long-term is 10 shops, multiple states, yada, yada, yada. If you get to 4 shops in Colorado and you say, now life tells me I want to spend way more time with my kid.
At least you can.
That's up to your decision at that point to like pull the foot off the gas or put somebody else in the position. You know what? I'm done taking a big check. You can have the big check now and keep growing this thing, and I'll mentor you as we do this or whatever. Who knows how that plays? I think one day you just wake up and you're like, no, it's different. Or the next day you wake up and you said, actually, I'm going to sell any asset I have and we're going to triple down and go get this even harder, which is fun. And then, which could potentially put you in that position sooner or not or whatever. But
and see, I'm still there even 4 years in. Like, compensation per year as an owner is half of what our employees take home. I mean, we're, my brother and I are under 50,000 a year, or around 50,000 a year, and our employees are double what we bring home a year. But it is in 100% growth mindset. Like, we are willing to pay our employees 80, 100,000 a year and hire 2 or 3 of those and grow the business before we pay ourselves. And so that way, in time and with sacrifice, in 10 years, we can then take a larger salary and we have a business that runs itself. Neither one of us want to do this. I mean, in our industry, it is very, very hard on your body.
Yeah,
it's very hard on your mental. It's very hard on your family. It takes a lot. I mean, I'm not saying that it's any harder than any other business, but it's very hard.
It's super physical labor.
Very physical, yes. And you get to that 35, 40-year-old range, your body's not going to take it well. And so the whole goal is, by that point, it needs to run itself.
You actually have a timeline kind of figured out that you're like, I literally can't be the guy with the wrench in my hand by a certain date.
And as young as it sounds, but I put a number in my head at 30. At 30 years old, the business will not have me in the shop anymore. I will step away. And it's kind of the same. My brother, he's a couple years younger than me. And by the time he's 30, like, we want to pull him out. We want to have managers in place to where Trevor and I are managing the locations, if there's 2, 3, 4, whatever that is, but we're managing oversight more than managing individual technicians.
So you're leaning back into all the things that need help in each individual location. Cool. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks and we're going to figure this out. Why this shop isn't doing what that shop is, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. And if it takes, if it takes 10 years or if that takes 15 years, it makes no difference. 5 years is 5 years to me. It makes no difference in the grand scheme of what we're trying to build. But when it comes to family specifically, that is also on a time frame, because you sacrifice everything now while our kids are growing up. That is a sacrifice that you have to be okay living with.
I didn't see Dad a lot when I was itty bitty. I didn't see him very much when I was in elementary or through middle or through high school or ever. So at what point
you have to choose.
You gotta cash in.
And I didn't realize that. Like, I'm new to this being a dad thing too. This is all within a year for me. And, he's a year and a half old now.
Mindset changes a little bit.
It changes, like, what part of their life are you willing to sacrifice? You're going to sacrifice it, especially in business. But as a employee for someone, you're going to sacrifice, or as an employer, you will sacrifice it.
Yeah.
So what are you willing to sacrifice? Is it exactly what you said? Is it the now? Is it the middle, or is it the later? And for me, it's the now. As hard as that is, it is the now for me.
The business is a kid too.
It is. It's in its infancy, and it has to grow. It is the primary caretaker of our family, and so it has to provide. And if it does not provide, then then
you go get another job.
You got to go get a job,
you
and then
won't
you're
be
missing
around
it anyway. Yes. Yeah, and then you're doing the exact same thing, just for somebody else. And so that's why I'm like, if I'm going to miss this time, I'm going to be all in. There's no question. So then later, I have something to show for it.
Yeah, to be able to benefit from at that point.
There's zero half-assing for me. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in moving slow. I don't believe in cutting corners, anything. Like, I believe full steam ahead, best quality, best capability that we can, and it will be rewarded at some point. Yeah. I believe
it already has in ways, right? But like, mediocre's not that cool. So
no, it until I am, walking into maybe an automotive class or something, and people are like, "Hey, he owns Divine Fleet Repair. Hey, they own Divine Fleet Repair."
Oh, that's the one with.
Hey, like we've seen his stuff. Like, we haven't made it. Until
people see your stuff.
Oh, people see our stuff. I mean, we know the numbers. But until
it's substantial, right?
Substantial to where there's no question of the size of the business. There's no question in my mind that, hey, the business could turn off tomorrow. Like, and I don't know if that'll ever go away either. Like, that's
you're wired.
I could probably be 15 years into it, and I imagine I will be 15 years into it and still going. I just started yesterday. Like, I feel the same.
Because you're in control of putting yourself into different positions within the business that it'll just feel fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited to go work on that or whatever. And a fun thing that it's really funny, because one of the first times I met you, I came over, I said, hey, we need to film a video. And, you're younger and you're not your typical, like, shop owner or whatever and thing. And I'm like, well, well, I'd be like, is your diesel running like shit? And I'm like, cool, let's film that. And then it's turned into an ad, and then turned into people knowing you as your diesel running like shit guy. And
good and bad.
Yeah, good and bad. But I mean, that's been such a be authentically you too within what you're doing, right? And then
stay true to who we are. The business, everything, even with how we run our ads, like hey, is your diesel running like shit? Even with that, we are still Christians. We still have a really strong belief in our Lord, Jesus Christ and our Savior. And we're not perfect, but it is staying true to who we are. I am not a perfect individual. Nobody at my shop is a perfect individual. But I will be real with you. I will tell you probably what you don't want to hear.
Yeah, right.
And I truly do credit that to the growth of our business. I think there's so many people out there and so many shops that are telling customers lies and selling them things that they don't need just to line their pockets. And we are not like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've dealt with you on a few things, and it's just like, here's options.
Yeah,
you make the decision.
We can do the XYZ. I would recommend this. And in some cases, it's not the more expensive option. It makes
you less money.
Like it actually makes me less to tell you to do this than it does to, sell you the high ticket item. But if I'm not trying to pay my lease on you with the first transaction, but if you come to me 100 times because you trust me, that was worth me losing every time that you come to me, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, no, I think so. And then what's some other tactical things that's like on your mind right now that you're like deeply looking at or thinking about in business that maybe we even haven't talked about, or what did we talk about last time that kind of stuck out to you?
I think that I wouldn't say so much tactical, but just how do we get eyes on Divine Fleet Repair, and how do we get people to understand that we are who we say we are?
Yeah.
I think the most tactical thing for me right now is literally just getting our message out. It is, who can I tell? Who can I share it to? Who knows who? And that is something that I've really been focusing on. Is I got 1,500 contacts in my phone, and I will literally Friday nights or Saturday nights, Monday nights, like whatever, I'll sit at the shop, and if I find myself there late, maybe I don't have something to do and I'm kind of just burning time or whatever, I will literally go through my phone and find contacts of business owners that I know either have a fleet, or maybe they're having issues with their current fleet manager, or whatever the case is, and I'll just pop them a message like, hey man, I didn't know if you...
Very one-on-one.
Yeah, very just direct, like, hey, I'm not trying to get anything from you. If you're happy where you're at, man,
love it.
Great for you. Just keep us in mind.
I would like to work on your stuff.
100%. Like, we're there if you need something. And that tactically, that has played out huge for me in the last 30, 45 days. Nice. I mean, we had an instance a couple weeks ago where we got a little bit slow. So I started cold calling again, just like I did in the beginning, and we're drinking from a fire hose again. I mean, it just, within a week, you can turn it around just from connections. And tactically, I'm really focusing on that.
I think that's what you said. Like, literally the week before, you were like, and then, like, the next time I saw you, you're like, I got to get back to the shop.
Yeah, and what I did is I probably sent 30, 35 text messages out just to anybody I knew, or maybe a past client that I had talked to that said, hey, I'd like to get this done, but funds were tight, 4 or 5 months ago. Just follow up and say, hey, is this something that you'd be willing to do?
Before the election, and maybe funds aren't as tight.
Yeah. Hey, everybody just got their taxes,
That's super true.
So that, and then, really honing in on management. I think that's huge. I have a lot of failures as a young manager. I learn a lot, and I don't want to be considered an owner. I don't want to be considered a mechanic. Like, at best, like, for at least our employees, I want to be considered a friend. And Layla Hermosi actually has this thing that she says to be kind, not nice. And I work on that. Like, my duty as a manager and a shop owner and a friend all in one is to be kind to you, but not to be nice to you. And what that means is, not always do I have to tell you, hey, you're doing a great job when you're not, but I got to tell you that you're doing a bad job in a kind way.
In a kind way.
And I've really been focusing on that, because that's difficult. I'm very high strung. I'm very like, let's get shit done. Like, just get it done. Kind of like a slave driver is what everyone calls me. And it's like really trying to focus in on how do I touch the hearts of the people that I'm really working with, employees, family, every aspect of my life,
Leadership.
customers coming in, just being a better leader is what I'm my 2025 goal is just become a better leader at the end of the day. I struggle with that.
What are you reading to do that? Are you just thinking about it a lot? Or are you
a lot of
trying
reading?
different?
There's people that are running businesses that are massive, that are phenomenal leaders, or at least they look like it on social media, etc. And so I'm watching their things. Obviously, we're doing the workshops. We are doing a lot of reading, a lot of my own due diligence, like finding myself in a situation in where I handle a situation and then you think back on it, like, okay, how could I handle that a little bit differently?
Yeah.
Had an instance yesterday at the shop where a vehicle rolled into another vehicle. It's never happened. We've never ran into that situation. And my first instance is to go, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here?
How does this even happen?
Yeah, like,
it's never happened.
We have
before.
protocols that we follow. Why is it not happening? And you kind of get mad about it and push towards a direction that you don't really want to push towards. You don't want to be known as that guy.
You go too far, you lose an employee.
Yes.
Yeah, and But you also can't be too nice, because then nothing gets better ever.
I think there's a fine line. If you're too nice, I am not positive that they will understand the severity of it. But I also believe that if you're too harsh, that guy that is your A player that is truly a friend will no longer be
break him in one conversation.
Yep. Yeah, and it'll lead to content as well. And what I mean by that is if you are pushing on somebody and pushing on somebody and pushing on somebody, well, eventually they will just stop caring and they will just be there for themselves. And that's not someone we want to work with,
Right.
But that comes down to me. It is my fault if they are like that or if they aren't like that.
It's a heck of a balance.
It is. It's very tough. Along with everything else.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
So you're constantly just trying to figure out how to balance some of those situations and communications.
There's a whole conversation around the leadership side of it that you can go into. But at the end of the day, just trying to be the best individuals that we can all be every single day and taking the downs the best you can and rebounding from it as fast as you can, continuing on with quality, and I think you win.
What do you do, like, energy, like, to have energy? Like, I know for me, there's days I'm, like, ready to rip, and then some days, and I know as I was younger, I had probably more energy consistently, and then I kind of almost burned myself out working for other people and giving them everything when I was younger, and I kind of wish I would have started earlier, but then I wouldn't have known what I know. So, like, do you see yourself, like, some days you got lots of energy, others you don't? Are you doing any sort of consistent regiment to, like, try to keep up with your energy so then you go in each day sharp? Or do you notice, like, Monday you're great and Friday when you're there 3 hours later than you should be, you're almost worthless because you've just just kind of
Mondays I come in, I'm fired up on Mondays, and everybody knows it too. When they walk in Monday, it is go time. Yep. There is zero ifs and buts about it, and zero mountain that we can't climb Monday morning. I promise. Tuesday, a little less. Wednesday, a little less. But Thursday, Friday, that's when the week starts getting pretty long. We're 30, 40 hours in. It's a long week at that point. I do every morning, or at least I try to. We try and work out. That helps too. Physical.
I have the hardest time. Like, I wake up and I'm here within like 30 minutes. I really wish I could offset that to wake up and work out, because everybody I listen to, all the big CEOs and everything, like, they go in at 9 a.m., but they get an hour and a half workout in before they go in or whatever. I'm like, there has to be a hack there. Yeah,
the only hack that I figured out is to go to bed at 8 if you can and wake up at 3. That's the only way to figure it out, because I'm the same way. I listen to all these big CEOs and same exact story. They're always like, oh, yeah, I get to work at 8 a.m., but I've already done cold plunges, and I've read for an hour, and I've meditated, and I've worked out. I'm like, what time do you wake up? 2 o'clock? But I do. I mean,
I'm going to bed around that time. Jeez.
Yeah. Like, are you going to bed at 6?
Not on. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Not on purpose, because I got done at work at 8. I got home by 9. I ate dinner, and then I sat there and thought about way too many things for the next 3 hours, and now it's 11 or 12, and
there's no turnoff. Like that is what I mean. There's no turnoff, and so on a perfect day, I personally will get up between 4:30 and 5. I, do my normal morning routine, shower, eat, all that good stuff. I'll go work out typically between like 6:45, and then I'm at the shop by 7:30.
I think that would help you walk in and be Like,
Oh, yeah.
employees walked in after they just woke up 30 minutes or an hour ago, and then you're 3 hours in. You're like, let's rip.
That's a lot of time to think.
I really want to work on that personally, but
Yes.
gosh.
It is so tough.
Dang it.
It is, to be honest with you, I'm not the most physically fit individual. Like, I don't train for size. I don't train for stamina, like nothing. I just literally, just to get up and get moving. Because there is some days where I'll sit at a computer for 8 hours. Like, there is those days. But then there's also days where
I sit at the computer for 8 hours.
Yeah, the flip side to it is some days that I'm in the field for 12 hours or 15 hours.
Yeah.
So there is offset for me, but in that hour, it is like the only time that I am not getting phone calls. It is the only time I can focus on just myself, whether it's treadmill, and I have a home gym now.
Okay.
And so, it's just, no matter what I'm doing, it doesn't matter if I'm just sitting out there doing push-ups or walking on the treadmill. It's an hour where I can gather my thoughts, really just focus in on, okay, what do I need to do today? No emails, like I got music playing in the background. I'm not looking at my phone.
It's too early, right?
Yeah,
Nothing's even.
No, at
half
5
the world
a.m.
isn't awake yet.
Yeah, 5, 6 a.m. There's nothing going on.
I don't have a client calling me wondering where their truck's at 5 a.m.
I still get it sometimes.
I mean, every once in a while you probably
and
do.
I'm like, I want to throw my phone, outside. But that's what I do, and then a lot of coffee, man.
Like coffee?
I got a coffee subscription, and it is a lot. Too much.
I just picked up a new client. He actually makes coffee here locally. We'll have to.
I need that contact.
We'll get you hooked up, see what you think of it, and maybe you can give us some feedback, create some content, tag them.
Yeah. Hey, Starbucks knows me by my first name, so it's real bad. It's a real bad problem.
The expenditure for Starbucks is one you don't want to look at the end of the month.
No, you have to budget for it. You have to budget for
one's
coffee.
Budgeted. Do you write the coffee off?
So I just found out that we can do that. I just found
50%
out
50% of it or something. Or
you can write off the whole thing if
nice.
it's ground or beans and you put it inside the office. Yeah, because it's.
Now it's office supplies.
Yeah, it's office supplies and customer experience. You write the 100% off. So now knowing that,
you are the customer experience.
I am the customer experience. So at the end of the year,
we're gonna get the most bougie coffee machine with all the beans.
Yeah.
And
when the accountant's like, "Did you really spend $15,000 on coffee?" I'm like, probably. I don't know, but probably.
It sounds not maybe that far off.
Yeah, it sounds realistic.
Seems crazy, but I do drink a lot of coffee.
Would I do it again?
So.
Probably.
It helps me get through my day or whatever. Yeah. So what's your coffee?
And if the customer gets a watered down, saggy version of me, it's not good. So we need coffee.
What coffee do you drink?
I'm on this new one now. It's a Colombian roast. It's called Danger Coffee. It's not quite what it sounds like, but it's like a remineralized coffee. I like it. It's raspberry and pipe tobacco flavoring. Okay. So it's kind of stout. It kind of gives you a little bit of a hit.
Punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. And I drink my coffee black, so black with a little bit of honey. And I like those weird beans stuff that's coming across seas.
All the different things.
Cost you like $30 to get 2 scoops. Like those, I don't get that often.
Being a little bougie.
Yeah, like I like it every now and then. And then just like espresso from Starbucks if I decide to go over there and
just give me the shot and.
Yeah, just a shot of espresso, throw a little bit
Monday
of honey.
morning, I got to go.
Yep. Generally speaking, like Monday mornings, even if I don't work out, if I don't drink coffee, I have Sundays off. That's a non-negotiable for me. Sundays are my day to just chill and spend time with the family. When I come in Monday morning, I am typically just naturally fired up. Like everybody knows. I'm telling you, our employees, Monday morning, everyone knows like he's going to be on one, ready to go.
And I think that's where I've been actually weirdly working on Sundays to try to do my work through the week so then I come in and work on more business stuff, not work stuff. So I'm trying to do my work throughout the weekend. Don't love it. I should be doing better about that. But here we are on Friday. We're shooting a podcast. Usually we're Thursdays, but now Fridays have been the thing. I don't know. We're in growth mode. Like I got to a point, mid-January where I was like, we're not growing the way we put a plan in place and that didn't net the results we wanted. So cool. If we do not hit these KPIs, which was onboarding like more or less a client every week, if it hits Thursday and we don't have a new client, Friday we're coming in.
What's your time to delivery? Like, what do you give yourself when you're looking at like, hey, we're not growing right now? How long do you give yourself before you say, okay, we got to change something?
I think that's an interesting one. So after the last little situation, so we we had like some of our best months ever middle of last year. Then the back half of last year went downward. We had a couple employee changes. We hired some new, we trained. So then it's almost like once I got back to the moment where I could like see it again, right? Like things happen. I was swimming like crazy. And then I like looked and I said, crap.
Do you lose track of, like, do you lose motivation or big picture ever? Like, do you ever find yourself in a situation where you're, like, kind of losing motivation?
I think comfortable.
Yeah.
Like you kind of said earlier,
Yeah.
like I felt that because I've definitely gotten to moments where I'm like, everybody's paid, we're making a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But then you look at, like you said across from somebody that's doing 10 million in like and that's why I think that having like masterminds or having, like it says like, you know, your 5 friends that are most like you, like you and I need to hang out more because I'll make you want to do more. You'll make me want to do more. We'll want to grow together. And you talk to other people and it's not so much like that. So like, that's so important to re-engage. So, I mean, we spent like $5,000. We went down to that class that I invited you to, unfortunately, but there's other options. Maybe we can get you on one of those. It was a lot of cool stuff. To then get you fired up because you're in a room full of people doing more. So it like reignites you. But I think you get wore out. I think there's times where I get tired. I get tired of looking at a screen. I get tired of, luckily now I'm able to create content and this is a long-term thing. It's not necessarily short-term. But yeah, there's moments where you just, I think you just get busy and then you lose track of the goal. And then when you get a Sunday or you get a full day where you get to re-engage, you're like, no, I gotta go. Like it's there too. One thing, it was hard for us last year. I think there's multiple things that were there in play. Getting into this year and having, I don't care if it's the economy or people wanting to spend money, whatever it is, I feel energy. So I get fired up by energy. I think there's a lot out there. It's almost like the more conversations we have, the better we are, the more we're going to gain, the more we're going to go. Let's go, 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 go. Now I'm fired up. Now I want to work Fridays. Now I want to work Sundays. So then I can do more on Mondays and Tuesdays. Now is there going to be some rough patches that like get foggy and kill your energy? Yeah. And I think we have that. And that's what I've hit sometimes. April on the other side, having a partner in the business, she'll have moments where like she's either fired up and I'm not. It's a good balance there because there's that second person to help like
equal it out.
You're
almost.
like, I don't, and they're like, get on the phone. We got a client to talk to, and you're like, yeah, all right, fine, whatever. And then like just this week, it was super cool. We had a guy, we're running a local ad. Usually we've done US. So I'm like, let's just try a Colorado ad. After you came back and Hermosi said, like, if even in your local area, if you're not doing $1 million a month and spend or whatever, you're not even doing it, right? I'm like, fair enough. Like, and I know we're not even close, let alone trying to cover the whole US. So I'm like, let's go Colorado because now we're closer to people. They feel more connected. And then literally a guy like messages us the night before. I think April's responding at 8 p.m. We get him on the phone, midday. And before he gets off the phone, he's paid and he's a new client. Instant money in the bank. And you're just like, that's addicting. Wow.
Yeah.
You're like, that's fun. Now we're on the other side, like like our packages, we take that payment up front. It's like a gym membership and then we do the work.
Yeah.
So like the fastest way for us to make money is to just sell a bunch of packages, but we can't lose sight on quality and keep taking care of. So then I got to foresee, okay, our employees, how's workload? Like I always check with employees. How's your workload? How you doing? What's it feel like? And then I can see, you're done by, Thursday and we got a half a day to screw around or whatever. You could take on a little more, but also I can't have you at 100% efficiency every day for the next 10 years.
Yeah. You'll burn them out.
So we got to have a balance.
Yep.
That's why Thursdays is usually creating content for us or overlap or a live stream that we had last night or whatever. So I try to like shoot for like a 70 to 80% efficiency. Obviously, if I was all about making money, we'd just put everybody at 90, 95 and it'd make much more money.
But you'd run through people a lot faster too.
Right.
And like in your industry, especially, and we've talked about it, is finding somebody that has media experience, considering that social media has only been a thing for like 10 years.
Let alone it be a full-time job for somebody.
Yeah, let alone a full-time job. Yeah, what'd you say, 3 years?
I mean, I've done it for, I was full-time, I've been 5, 6 years ago, and I just don't know that there's been people, but it was probably in a very corporate, like, here's $50,000 a year to be a social media manager, or 30, or like somebody that was actually cared about it through and through, not just somebody that was like, oh, and they're an admin, and they post a social once a day for us, and even once a day they post a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people.
So you're in an industry that has not been around long in the grand scheme of things in comparison to an automotive industry. It's been around for 200 years.
Yeah. How many diesel trucks have you worked on? Oh, I've worked on them for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
How many posts have you made? I mean, in my career, I don't know, I probably lost 8, 10, 15. I'm probably 15 or 20,000 posts on social media I've made.
Mm-hmm. In 6 years?
Yeah, ish, probably. I mean, hundreds of YouTube videos, 20, 30 podcasts overall, helping other people create content. But, like, how many other people in the world could be like, okay, everybody raise their hand if they made one social media post. Okay. Now, if you made more than 10. Now, if you made more than 100. Now, if you made more than 10,000.
Nobody in that room.
Right? So, like, yeah. But if you go into a diesel shop, like, there's going to be a guy in there that's worked on diesel trucks for the last 105 years. You know what I mean? Type of a thing. Like, because it's possible, not in our industry. So that is something that is super weird with us. And I'm trying to figure out and navigate. But I'm also super fired up to hopefully, like, I'm interested in trying to find another me that does have, like, they have more experience than me and they've been in the industry more and they've made 50,000 posts. And they've ran all these campaigns. They've made all these videos and they've went viral hundreds of times and all this stuff. And it's like, cool, how much is that person worth? And if I implement that person into our business,
what's the ROI?
What does that look like? And I'm fired up to see that one day. I don't even know how many people in the exist in that.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like
that want that job.
Don't you kind of think that you're at the forefront of that?
I feel like it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're give it 6 years ago, 8 years ago when social media marketing really took off.
Yeah.
And that's right when you were starting.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be that guy that, these other companies are looking for, and you're looking for the same you. That would be hard. So I give that to you.
It's super
I don't have
fun,
that
but super weird, right?
Yeah. It's like you said, I can go out tomorrow, run an ad, and I can have 50 people send me an application that have 20 years of experience. It's like I get to choose who we hire. Like that is not like that for you. That's a whole different.
A lot of what I'm seeing and I'm excited about and stuff is like I almost need to start working with the colleges to then hopefully start implementing things that are directly correlated with when they leave there, they can be with us. Like we're getting ready to hire. Well, we made an offer. She accepted an intern that's been with us for about a year. She's in a social media marketing class in her last semester of school. And I'm like, what are you learning? She's like, some stuff, or whatever, but not like she could leave there and go do that. But she is great at editing. She's learned a lot of. She's a super creative person, which is super cool, right? But then you're like, man, does my business look like it almost has a social media school built into the first 3 months that they come into our company? Do people pay us? Like one of the things I'm thinking about is, how do I make a pretty round number is about $5,000 a month for an income, right? Yeah. Yep. Whatever, 50, 60 grand a year. Yep. It's a pretty decent salary. You're not crushing it, but it's decent. I'm like, okay, so I've been above that. I've been below that. I've had to rebuild back to that. And now I'm like, is there a way I can do that in a day? Because I've been in enough rooms where people make big checks or quick money, but in certain situations, right? Yeah. So I'm like, could I do my salary in a day and then be able to then not take any money from the business the entire rest of the month. So then my current salary can then get reinvested. Yeah. So what can I do to speed up in a day to make enough money or like get a podcast sponsor? I live off of this conversation that I do on a Friday. The rest of my salary is just, the business just gets me the rest of the time for free.
Are you familiar with Andy Frisella?
Right, yep.
Okay, so that's what he says all the time too, is that even now he's 30 years into First Form. That's what he says. He still doesn't take salary from First Form. Like his salary's from the other 7 businesses that he runs that no one knows about. But then he takes his $1 million a year salary and plugs it right back into First Form, and it's just growth.
And I think that's the biggest thing. If you're stoked about growing a business, you got to be stoked about not taking a paycheck so the money can stay in the business. Yes. Let the taxes come out. Yes. They're going to take your taxes.
They will take
But the rest of the money, your profit, can stay in the business and grow it by $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever, and then the account goes up. If you're stoked to see that your business account go up before your personal account, go ahead and try business. If that sounds really not cool, I'd probably hold out on the business side of things because that's kind of what you got to do for a while.
That's probably the best line. That's the tagline right there. Yeah. That's said so perfectly. I mean, I couldn't tell you how excited I am to see the business account grow. I couldn't tell you last time I checked my personal account. and I know it ain't good. So
you take money when you have to take
Yeah,
money. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
literally.
it's starting to pull money out of savings, and savings isn't great. So yeah, let's go ahead and move that over.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could be more aggressive in that, but I've also like I have real estate, and I've always tried to pocket money. Real estate money stays real estate. Business money's business. Personal's personal. I take my pay. But now I'm like, okay, if I want to be able to speed up things or really try some cool stuff and risk 5 or 10 grand in an ad and it do nothing, sick.
Yeah.
Now go do it again, right? But like you got to have enough cash there. And it sounds crazy, but I'm like, I also know the lottery tickets involved.
Yes.
So if I can just play more, I'll hit more. But even me or your budgets or whatever, I've always been more conservative. But I'm like, if I can play on a bigger scale, I'm a lot happier to come talk to you and be like, I show up to your house at 8 at night and say, dude, we have a money machine sitting here.
Yep.
We need to feed it more. And then
Yep.
you just sit there and say, but I can't because of the business, right? And like, I'm never pushy, but then I also I would love to be able to like consult and mentor and be like, just trust me. I've done enough of these.
This is what it's
I
gonna
figured
take.
it out. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yep.
We'll get there, but this has to happen. I'm been getting better, and I've been learning within your own business. It's funny because it is your money, but then it's numbers, and then yeah,
I
it's
think
such a weird thing.
that is something that you guys offered us because we are in an industry that's, I wouldn't say it's growing, and the diesel industry as a whole is kind of dying. Like everybody, political structure, government, everything is trying to get rid of
They're
diesels.
not super stoked.
And so we're
about
kind of
diesels,
a
yeah.
dying industry, and you guys have brought light in our area at least. We're the only diesel shop running marketing ads. We're it.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of setting that standard. We're setting the bar, and being able to do that has allowed us to watch the people that have seen it and our other shop owners. They start to come around and they're like, hey, like these guys are doing it. We should do it too. And that's been really cool to see.
Yeah.
And with what you're saying about the lottery system, where for like the people that are going to listen and watch this podcast is when you're running the marketing out of 250,000 people that see one of our ads, if you get that one guy like Matt, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
comes into our shop, lets us work on his truck, great relationship now, brings the fire department on, and now we have a cash flowing machine that, we treat them right, they treat us right, and you're taken care of. That's the lottery that you're referring to there. And how do you speed that up?
Yeah.
How do you hit that lottery more? Because it is a lottery that you can hit, and it's not one in 12 million or whatever it is to play the actual lottery, but if you spend,
It's your own lottery that you can kind of build.
it's your own lottery and you're building it, and it comes down to how much you're willing
Actually
to spend.
speeds up faster. The better you get, the more well-known you are. You get more at-bats, you get more chances.
And the more money you spend, the closer you are to hitting another lottery, which is crazy.
Well, and like that, like tomorrow, if you hit the lottery,
Mm-hmm.
would you take the cash and run? Or would you literally take all the money and just go buy more lottery tickets to try to hit it again? Seems wild.
But
But if there's a strategy to it, which there is in this situation,
yeah, there's strategy with marketing.
yeah,
100%.
and then you're like, okay, so I'm hedging my odds that I'm gonna hit it sooner and faster again the more I play.
You've already done it. You have proof that, okay, it is doable. We just got to find that guy again, and it's going to cost X amount of money. Like, I'd love to sit back and actually like look at when we had that message come through and in comparison to what we spent to hit that. And then I'm like, okay, take all of that and do it again tomorrow. Because if we can do that, like, we'll just keep doubling it. You know what I mean? Like double until you can't anymore.
And that's where you're young enough, you're fired up enough, and you understand social enough, or you understand that you have zero desire to go run a TV ad or a newspaper ad or whatever, right?
No.
You also have zero desire to post to social media and make content. So that's where it's a great relationship, partnership here within this. But like that is we know that. We could walk right out of this thing. We're fired up. Yeah, let's go do it. And then you're like, well,
hold on a second.
we're headed there.
Yep.
We're going to get there together. You'll keep growing. We'll keep growing. And that's what's super, super fun. But yes, I agree. If you could only not worry about paying all the other things with the money you need to make, and you could just literally roll it back in, it would exponentially grow. There's a lot of other things at play there that you got to.
There's factors.
You got to do a lot.
Yeah.
But I think, and as you went to Hermosi's thing, and I think that kind of instilled some of that, and it's some of the stuff I know and I believe in. Then we've had conversations about that. Is like, it's just more.
Yeah.
Like whatever you did to get 4 clients, just can you double it to get 8? Can you double it to get 16? Can you double it? Like, so many people I think that, I I want to spend this much money in marketing, or I'm going to put out this many posts, or I'm going to run this many ads, or I'm going to DM or directly text this many people. But I want to grow another 25 or 50%. No, you got to do 25 or 50%. Sometimes you might have to do 50% more just to get to the next 25 once you hit a threshold.
Yep.
And are you willing to go there? And like, that's kind of where it's like, how do I meet or talk to this many more people? And that's a hard, it's a hard thing to like multiply.
Yeah. But if you were to spend $10,000 tomorrow on that ad, like you're, in my opinion, and I'm not the social media guy, but you're damn near guaranteed to make it back. With the way
you have enough data now.
We have enough data based on
right.
previous ads that you guys have ran for us that we can say if we were to spend $10,000 tomorrow, there's a good possibility that you could triple or quadruple that pretty much with no effort.
Well,
like it's there. The data's there. We know that it works. We know what ads work. What saying,
now
hey, is your diesel running like shit? For some reason, that works great. So
we try to go away from it. Guess what? We
work.
Just filmed it again, and it's crushing
I think we filmed
again.
it 4 times.
Imagine that.
And it works. It's crazy.
Well, we're just gonna take and I think change shit to some other word, and then I just want to test it. Why not, right? Like, chances are we're gonna get the same results, but let's just see.
Hermosi says that, and that's probably of anything out of that whole time that I was out there, the number one saying was do more, do more, do more, do more, and I wrote that down like I don't know how many times, 50 times.
In their thing, would he say, okay, write this down? And then
no, he would just
the thing we went to, like they'd have call to actions to get you to like act on certain things.
No, not out there. He would just say it several times, and then you kind of get the hint, like, oh, okay, I should probably write this down. Like, if he repeated it or he said,
it's like a teacher before a test.
Like this is something that you should write down. And everyone in the class would start writing down. You know, there's 75 people in there.
So it'd be a little call to action. Like, you should probably remember this part.
Yeah.
Here's a golden nugget.
This really worked for me. And he would go quiet for like 20 seconds. And then everybody's flipping pages trying to find something clean to write, you know. Well worth the money. Just do more, do more, do more. And once you've reached as far as you can go with do more and you cannot do anymore, do something else.
Yeah.
And then do the same thing. Just do more, do more, do more, do more. And then his other thing is, too, it's like do more, do better. Do more, do better. And keep doing more of the same thing and get better at it, more efficient at it, until there is no more efficiency to squeeze out of it.
So you got to go find something else.
And you have to. You're required by the market to go do something else. And for us, like, for specifically my situation, like media is the do more and do better. Do more and do better. Because, like,
you started even filming some your own videos and sending us stuff
it's
and talking
terrible.
about.
It's terrible, but like we get a lot of shares on that stuff, and I don't know why because I'm not great.
It's almost like that stuff I told you the first time we talked. I need you in video. You're like, man,
someone else could do it.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the brand.
Now it's like it's a necessary evil.
It's
so important. I mean, I know how important it is, and even days I struggle to get fired up to do it, but I love conversations like this, so that's why I'm like, cool, podcast, put me in front of it. I can make content. We can take this content and strip some of this cool stuff you said out of here, put it on your thing, which will help your stuff, which will be cool. People get to know more about you and who you are. And
I'm really hoping that people that are going to watch this podcast, that they really understand the power of media and marketing, because I didn't. Yeah. I did not understand it at all. To me, it was something that if you did a good enough job, word of mouth would make you busy. And in today, the problem is it takes too long, and that's where you get these businesses that are failing. It takes marketing power, and it takes somebody that knows how to market to get you where you're trying to go in a fast enough manner that you're not always stressed about the business turning off. And I hope that people get that out of this, is marketing is important. It's worth the money. The return,
find the right partners.
You got to have the right people.
Yeah. Well, and you got to have the right service. Our marketing and our relationship would have died a long time ago if you weren't doing the right thing on your side of it, and to take care of the people that come in, or like, I know a lot of it, even at the beginning, is, you know, sending you messages and then you would follow up, but even your follow-up's gotten better, which has helped deliver more from the marketing. Like the way any of this I think works is it doesn't not work because somebody's done it and made it work. Mm-hmm. The way you do it, how you do it, the ad, the creative, the communication, the whatever, it'll work. You can force it to work. It's just how many times you're going to try it to figure out what actually works for yourself. Where we come in is we can just help kind of speed that up. Mm-hmm. transparency, I literally took your video and sent it to a new client. He's not in any sort of automotive, but I was like, this is a diesel repair shop. This ad works. Film your own version.
Yeah.
And then he was like, he's not like loving shooting his own like video ad, but it's such a simple ad,
yeah.
and it works so well for you. And in a service-based thing, I'm like, we actually have ads that I'm like, I need to do my own version of what I did with Colton. Like ours are more informational and we put more into it. And I'm like, I just need to be like, tired of doing social media, hire me to do it.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
That would work.
And it would probably do
Yeah,
it just super simple, super clean, direct messaging. Not that those ads will work forever, but for right now and for what we've seen, gosh, dang it, they work pretty good.
Well,
so.
I think everybody is in a situation where they are tired of fake and they want real people.
And on
AI is this big old
gosh.
push, and majority of people don't want AI.
I think you're gonna be AI, or you're gonna have to like go live to prove that you're
like
not AI.
I mean, even with some of our like ads, we have it turned on to where I can't get to every single message immediately, and so it kicks them an automated response.
Yeah.
A little bit older generation don't like that, and
you see
our
people
generation,
People get sad.
Oh yeah, they
stop. Why are you messaging
they're
me?
getting mad, and it's like, you got to understand, like this is where it is going. This is where the industry's going. If I had somebody sitting in the office that could sit here and respond to you every 20 seconds, like, that's ideal. But that's not us yet.
Yeah.
But with like just being transparent with customers and just being straight up, like, this is who we are, this is what we do, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But we're not changing.
We had an ad
This is
that,
us.
Yeah, came through that the guy's like, so apparently you can't help businesses like mine. I was almost going to respond and say like, hey, we're actually a small shop, like small agency. We're real people. Sometimes it takes us a little bit to get back to you. We don't have any crazy funnel built. We don't have any sort of AI bot that's going to talk to you. like I'll FaceTime you right now. I'm in my office. I'm an owner of the company, like for real. And April will even take selfies sometimes, and we'll post stuff and like respond to comments that are like, this is fake or you're a scam or whatever. You're like, no, we're not. But
small business is hard.
Yeah, like,
and when you're busy,
like, give me 14 seconds to respond. Or like, yes, it was 8 at night last night, and I got 17 things thrown at me this morning, but by like noon today. But then I was listening to one of the things that is like, as fast as you can respond. Yes, like we could all get better at that stuff.
Yep.
Super hard. Like like you said, how do I afford to just set somebody in the office? But at some point, when you're spending enough in marketing to then get the ROI, like, does the conversion rate go from 60 to 65%? And then within that, that's a person's salary. So it makes sense. Okay, fine, whatever. I don't know.
But then you still need to make another 5 to actually make it worth more than that.
To cover all the other costs and everything, as long as, or where you're headed, okay, I need them 20% of the time, but I'd like to have them 40% of the time. So then, okay, I don't know. Those are all stuff that me and you will probably talk about in the next few years that we're trying to logistically figure out together and implement into our businesses.
I think at the end of the day, it's just how do we grow and how fast can we grow? It's like, ROI is everything.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, we're not all about like, even, it's just the dollar has to keep the machine turning.
Yes.
It's not really how much you're making. It's just you got to have enough dollars to keep the machine going.
Yeah, and you I mean, I would love to cut you a check tomorrow for $500,000 to say, hey, I don't care what you do with it, turn it into cool videos.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more but to do that. But it's like, you can't.
What a crazy concept. But then there's people out there that are literally doing that right now, and they're crushing it.
Literally doing that exact same
thing. And they're the biggest people in the industry, and then they're getting paid. So that's the crazy thing, right? Is you do that, and that's what I was saying, like making my salary in it is at some point you'll be able to charge $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 to have this like 3-day come in, and I'll teach you how to grow your diesel repair shop. You'll make way more money teaching people to do it than you will actually working on the trucks. But you have to go through all this to like get there.
The 20 years to get to the point where you can make 20 grand in 3 hours. Yeah, isn't that kind of shitty?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Pay your dues or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you think about it. I mean, how old's Alex and Layla? Mid-30s?
They've sped it up. Like they're...
Yeah, and they learned really quick. Went early 20s, learned really quick, turned it all into marketing, and then let the marketing build what they have now. Yeah. That is how you do it. It's
one of our biggest thing, I think, I need a salesperson. Like dedicated, because even listen to some of their stuff or like Like that's kind of where you're not totally sales, but like that person that is
Almost
ready
like
to
a
answer the
inbound,
phone.
yeah.
Yeah, like the
Cold inbound.
intake and get them in.
Yeah.
We need somebody that, like, April does her best, but she's doing tons of client communications. I hate selling, but I've realized I end up being the one that can usually sell the best because just within pure not high like value. I just try to bring a ton of value when I'm communicating with people. Like, this is what you should do. This is what can help. This is what we've done. This is what we've learned, and those types of things. So it's like you're always looking. But like, do I spend the next salary on another person to help deliver clients or to grow? And then I can't wait. I'm pretty excited about it. At some point where like you hire 2 people at once. Yeah, it's gonna be really a wild thing.
It's cool. That is exciting.
We've done one at a time.
Yeah, like I can't wait for that.
Like you're like, hey, I need 3 techs.
Yep.
Tomorrow. You're
that
like,
is.
But like one fleet lottery ticket thing can come through, and you're like, cool, I need 1 person, and then you get 7 phone calls, and you're like, now we're buried, so I need 2 people in the next 30 days, really, really fast.
And that's the way we figure it. Like we have one of our techs right now, and he's managing a fleet by himself that's 70 trucks, and that's his baby, and like that's what he does. Like he manages that fleet, and then in his off time, he works at the shop. Like, but that
there's not a ton of off time.
There's not a ton of off time. Like he's out there majority of the time. I don't see him much. What if there was a fleet of 80 or 90?
What freaks me out though is if you lose that contract.
Oh, it's scary. That is scary.
So I like love the big contracts, but then the other side of it, because I think like tomorrow, if we made a deal with a franchise, they had 30, locations,
yep.
And then we're going to take on all 30. Great. I'm going to hire 2-3 people to just manage that entire thing, or whatever, 5 people, 2, whatever, depending on the scope of work. Great. But then if you lost that and you have 3 people sitting there that just, you have full bought into that, I'm like, man, that sounds really cool. On the backside, it doesn't sound that cool.
That is that is a side of contractual work that is a problem.
Wicked scary.
Yeah. And if you hire specifically for that, I think you could very quickly find yourself in a bad situation. The way we personally do it is we have like a fleet of 70. One guy can manage himself. Now they're just pickups. Yeah. A lot of it's just services. They're all brand new. So if it was big repairs, it would probably take 4 or 5. But for us, at least contractual work, if we sign a 3-year contract, at about year 2, we start looking pretty heavy for that replacement. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, then whatever that contract is, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month, whatever that contract is bringing in, you lose at year 3, and now you have a $100,000 a year technician that you got to put somewhere. So you start looking at year 2 or marketing.
I think that's the important part of like growth though, right? If you're always growth mindseted, you're not scared of that. You're not totally scared of that situation, because then hopefully you're almost like, great. Like if that falls, I already have 30 to 40% work for him. I'll just need to, spice up everything else to keep him busy enough. Yep. But if you're just motoring along and you're not always growth mindset, that's a setback instead of like a speed bump type of a thing. So those are things that I'm thinking about.
Be completely honest with you, and the reason that I can speak on this is because that has happened to me.
Yeah.
In the starting phase of our business, within the first year, we had a fleet that we were taking care of. They had 8-10 trucks. Very lucrative for us, very good, but we worked 7 days a week, and that's why it was lucrative, because after hours was expensive. Very, very good until they ran out of money. And they were like, oh, shit. And in the beginning stages, $30,000 was a lot of money, and we didn't have it. Now it's gone. It's just cold turkey cut, and we had just got into the shop, so all that overhead
relying on that
really hit us. Yeah, you go from 0 overhead to $25,000 a month in overhead, and you just lost a $30,000 contract. So you just gained $55,000 in 1 month in expense, and you're trying to go, wow, how do we fill this? And what I have found. And I don't know if it's the good Lord that works, if it's good karma, I don't know. But every time we've ever lost a client, we've gained 2 or 3 new ones.
I feel like that.
And it is, I can't contribute it to anything except for good karma or the good Lord. And that's it, because every single time, never single one time has there been a time that I've lost a client over whatever, and then not gained somebody that was double the work, double the cash flow, or double the people.
You're right.
I mean, that's, and then
like
that
you actually needed more to
yes,
keep
where
up,
we actually needed people to hire to take on.
Yeah, we've seen that.
And I don't know what it is, but it's every single time.
Just doing right and building the business right and keeping your foot on the gas because more opportunities will come.
Yep.
I've been in the same boat where we're like, do we hire? Do we not hire? And then one day you're like, absolutely, we cannot. And then the next day you're like, well, we absolutely need them. And then we may need more past that, which is super weird. It balances out and it figures itself out. But shoot,
I think
those are the times where you just hold on. And
yeah, I think the universe has a way of equaling things out.
Yeah.
I think if you're willing to go for it, I think whatever it is, God, universe, whatever you believe in, I think that it will equal out. And if the intent is there, I think you're
as long as the intent's there. Don't be blind or like, oh, it'll just magically work out. But if my intent's there,
yes,
and everything's headed in that direction, it will play out.
I believe in both good karma and bad. And
yeah, for sure.
The people that do good generally have a little bit better life, a little bit better business. Those are generally the people that are doing a little better.
Yeah.
It is that. And so just doing the right thing, keeping your intent wholehearted, being who you say you are, growing the business in the direction that is not fake, be real.
Yeah.
I think it always comes back.
Yeah.
And that is kind of a flip switch to what I say, like, oh, I feel like the business can shut off tomorrow. Well, I do feel like that. But
it's because the intent's right.
I know I'm doing my best. Like
and you're not naive to what could happen or what will happen if you do by wrong of what you're doing. But as long as you keep on the path, it'll play out. It's not going to look like what you think it's going to look like, but it'll play out.
In most cases, I also think that there's not a lot of problems that can't be solved. Like client problems is primarily what I'm talking about. Like, let's say they have a bad experience. I don't think there's a lot of bad experiences that cannot be corrected. Even if it was like a really bad experience, like we had yesterday, like truck gets backed into another vehicle,
it's like
that is terrible. That is
like
for a automotive shop. That is not a conversation I ever even seen myself having, nor did I ever want to. But having that conversation and saying, look, we 100% are going to take care of this. Not only did we take care of the service that they were there for, we washed the vehicle for them. We told them we're going to take care of it, parts, labor, everything. Or we asked them, or we can just cut you a check now for whatever the dealer would charge us to take care of this problem. Just doing that and just being upfront, like, it was not big. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 inch scratch. So
there's
small.
So many shops that don't have the cash or the ability to eat that.
Oh, no doubt. Or
and that's such
even
a difference.
the gut to tell the customer, hey, we did this.
Yeah, or just
and
to
then
send
they send it out. Because it could have left and she would have never known. She would have never had any idea. It's not big enough that you would have probably seen it right away. You would have seen it eventually, but not right away.
She don't know
but
if
that's not who we are.
Walmart parking lot or
exactly.
Yeah.
And no, that's not who we are.
Yep. Your business ain't. You know that karma, if you did that, will eat you alive in the business.
Somewhere it's going to hurt on the backside.
For sure.
And
1,000%.
Whether it cost $1,000, $3,000, whatever it costs to fix that fender. Good. Exactly. She's taken care of. I know for a fact she will bring that vehicle back to us. Not just to fix it, because we do have to fix it now, but she will bring it back because that customer experience was spot on. I'm really sorry. I really apologize. This is not the standard at our shop. And look, I want you to look at this, see what you'd like to do. I will either cut you a check right now, or I will order parts from the factory. I will have them painted, and I will install them personally.
So build a safety net into your business.
100%.
All the time.
Don't run on zeros, man.
Don't take all of it and put it in your pocket for the next thing you want to go buy personally.
Those fancy trucks and fancy boats and big houses are great if you can afford them. But when things get hard and you
that stuff comes
no
after.
Longer, when you can no longer afford them, that sucks.
Yeah, if you don't have the safety net built before buying those things, don't go do it. Unless you want to risk your business.
I don't want.
I've worked way too hard to give up.
There's too much effort to lose everything.
At this point, you're way too bought in.
Yeah, and that's if you were to try and step away tomorrow, how do you?
Oh yeah, no.
Because everyone has your number.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what you do. They're still going to call. They're still going to text. Like, the only way that you can do it, kill the business, shut the phone off, move to a different state, and like legit start life over.
Okay.
Because when
you're way too connected,
you're way too in the industry.
And if you're building it right, you should be.
Yeah, you should have friends that you can call upon. other shop owners, other business owners. You should have people that you can reach out to and say, hey, could you help me with this? Or do you have an advice for this? Or have you ran into this? Or, hey, who do you know that can take care of this for me? Like, if you're doing it right, you should. Like, even our competitors, 90% of them I could reach out to, and they'll be there to help us.
So that's something that we don't have. There's a lot of freelance people that we could lean on. I try to build it internally because also I've had a hell of a time trying to bring freelancers on to help at times, and they're not committed to anything you got going on. So that's super hard. Social media is like everybody can do it, type in a way or whatever. So like it's like super weird and competitive in ways. I don't know. I'm still I'll navigate that, and it doesn't feel that helpful from agency to agency within what we're doing or creative, or because like we're building it like brick and mortar, hiring W-2s, and there's a ton of agencies out there that farm it out, or they have 1099s, or and they work from home, and there's no actual structure or environment behind it. And those things are great, and they're great for profit until their 1099s or their remote people crumble or find that they can do it on their own, and then there's no like, and that can happen with W-2s, but if you're building it right and you're doing it correctly, like it's harder for that to crumble. If you have if you own a business and it's all built off of 1099s, like you don't really have employees. Like
you really don't have a business.
So yeah, like it's kind of weird. So I see a lot of that.
How would you scale that? How would you sell
have a bunch of 1099s?
How would you sell that business?
You'll never sell that thing.
It's dead. It's not worth anything. But if you have a location like you guys do here, you have employees that show up every single day that are bought in, like that's a scalable and sellable business.
Right. Whether you want to or not, I read that E-Myth book, and it says build a business like a franchise or whatever, and that's what I'm trying to do. I just want to build it right. I want it to be, and that's what everybody's like, aren't you worried? I'm like, I could literally teach 100 people tomorrow this exact business blueprint. They could all go crush it and build the exact same business, and it would almost affect us minimally. Like in the conversation of that they're going to compare us against them and maybe hire them over us, but there are so many other options. Like it's like there's so much out there.
There's so many people out there.
Oh my gosh. If I can't touch even a small fractional of a percent of every business out there to help with social media or content or whatever, especially with how much that's grown, it's unbelievable. It's like you can't touch every diesel truck ever out there on the road. Impossible. Never going to happen. Even a fraction of it. A fraction of the part of the town that you're in is a lot.
If you can shoot for 30% of just your town, and like we're in a town of 100,000 roughly, if you shoot for 30% of diesel truck owners in this town, in 5 years, I won't be turning wrenches anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's that many clients.
And that's one of the biggest, hardest parts is like the shiny object syndrome is ooh, I want to chase this or buy a different business or build a different business because now I figured out some business stuff and I think I can do cool things with it. It's like...
We've talked about that. Like gosh, we've had opportunities both that like, hey, you could go buy this, you could do this, and it looks great until you sit down and you really start thinking about it. And it's like, well, if I go spend all my operating capital from business A to put into business B, and business B's actually not as appealing as business A, like you should probably just stick with business A and then just put that 100,000 back into that. Yeah.
Then you go do B, and if it crashes and burns,
it's okay. You still have A to fall back on.
Cool. No big deal. I tried it.
And you had a write-off.
But A's still crushing it, and now I got a business that made money, and then I got a business that lost money. So actually on taxes, I'm doing great.
Yeah, government.
That's kind of a good idea. On it, like, I mean, it's happened, and I've thought about it too. But like, you talk about that like an expenditure. Like when your business is big enough, do you go buy crazy equipment, or do you go maybe buy that machine shop that can help you do engine stuff? And if it doesn't play out, like
at the end of the day, it probably just made business A more money.
Yeah,
because you're an asset to business A, even though that business
what a fun part
losing.
that'll be in.
Yeah, that I can't wait for that.
That sounds super fun.
Kind of buy dumb shit. That's kind of like a dumb shit purchase.
Yeah, instead of buying the the $120,000 wake boat, I'm gonna go buy this business, and if it works, I'll make even more money, and if it doesn't. And then if that one crushes, then I'll buy the boat, and then
delay the boat long enough, and then two businesses funded the boat. Now it was easier for both to buy it, and then the boat's a advertisement, marketing write-off right there.
if anything, I'm in the greatest business ever, because as long
It's
as we go
perfect.
put it in a video or I use it for marketing or anything, I can write it off. I figured out that hack when I created a YouTube channel and I was able to write off a bunch of car parts for my race car.
So you're gonna get mad if I go start a media company just so I can put everything in that name, and then you keep shooting the videos. I'm just gonna have a backdoor.
I just need the other one so I can write that stuff off.
Yep.
I mean, that's an
It'd be
interesting
like
concept too, right? Like,
divine marketing.
I'm just like I help you navigate that business.
You would be my social media manager.
Yeah, I'm a cost at that point, but it gets written through to, oh boy,
Yeah,
I'm sure
my CPA would be pissed.
Oh, they would
She'd
love
be pissed.
you. Like, you say what you're doing, huh?
Yeah, wait, you hired him, but you're paying him on this side too? But he runs this for you? No, he doesn't actually.
Wait, you're trying to write off what? Yeah,
that would be a spider web of nightmare for somebody that
try to
I
audit
pay.
us. You'll never figure it out. It's a mess.
Yeah. Well, we've seen you on a podcast in 2024 together.
It sounded like you guys, this was
Don't worry about it.
premeditated. We'll cut this back part out now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, I said, Colton, we got about another 15 minutes, and I think we've sat here for almost probably another hour.
Yeah,
Him and I could literally sit here and talk about this stuff, his business, our business, ideas, different things, all day, every day. Like, it's this conversation every time we see each other. This one was a little bit different because we got cameras rolling and everything. But give us 4 more months, and we'll have another batch of things to talk about. So I definitely plan on having you back on. But one of the and love seeing you grow, and can't wait to see you grow more and us grow more, and we just do stuff together in the future. But one of the last questions, and tell everybody, like, what does it mean for you to not either suck in business or life, and like kind of what do you kind of live by, or if you had advice for people that might be wanting to do what you're doing?
I would say if you want to do what I'm doing, you got to have grit. Have good people in your corner, and just work hard, put your head down, give it the best quality possible. Always go out of your way to make somebody's day a little bit better, and just be a good person at the end of the day. And in my opinion, that's how you don't suck.
Yeah, by being a good person.
Yep. Just number one, first and foremost,
good people around you.
Be a good person, put good people around you, and then
if you're a good person, you'll attract good people too.
Absolutely, without a doubt. That is number one. Number one, just be a good person, and good karma will come.
Yeah, and if not, those short-term relationships will die.
They will. And you get good in business. You get really good at being able to find good people and bad people. You kind of have a sense of that. I think that you gain.
Yeah, it's just data.
Yeah.
you start
Personal.
saying,
Yeah, it's in your head.
I've been through this a little bit before, and I've seen this
Yep.
coming. So yeah, man. No, I appreciate you coming on and just talking.
It's been fun,
and
man.
friendship, and
fun.
just, I hope I know this isn't what you were thinking, because you weren't sure what to expect
I
on the
didn't
podcast.
know what to expect. I was sitting here I was sitting at the shop, actually. I just got back, and I was like, man, I kind of get a little nervous. I've never done something like this. I don't know. And it's cool. I'm glad to be here, man. I appreciate it.
This happens quite a bit with us. Just that stuff sitting there is not
we
super
talk
common, right?
once a month. We have a 2.5 hour conversation, but
it's only supposed to be 15 minutes every time, and then it's 2 hours. But
yeah, I have to budget for that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I just make him work way more. So it's like I'm a business partner. I just cost him way more work.
It's been good, man. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the invite. We've been trying to put this together for a little while now.
I've been excited.
Probably 5 weeks, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for having me out. And I think what is it? Don't suck. Huh?
Yeah, don't suck.
Just don't suck.
Just don't suck. Keep going and don't suck.
Yep.
Right on. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.